all precinct two. See if I got any bill here.
Those are precinct two.
These are precinct two. You see, you had your ice machine worked on. You,
Yes, sir.
here, that's yours.
All right, I'll call the regular meeting of the Anderson County Commissioners Court to order on May the 6th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Show that a quorum is present, that all members of the court are present in the courtroom. First item on the agenda is the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. So would everybody please stand as we go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day, for the opportunity to come together, Lord, to do the business of this county. And we ask for your guidance, Lord, in doing the right thing and give us the mindset to make decisions that are best interest of everybody here in our county. We ask you, Lord, to thanks for taking care of all of our citizens through the storms, Lord. We've had some damage, but we hadn't had loss of life and major injuries, Lord, so thank you for that. We ask you, Lord, to be with our men and women in military service and our first responders throughout our nation and around the world that protect us on a day-to-day basis. We ask you, Lord, to guide and direct us, go with us through this day and bless our lives to thy service. These things in Jesus' name I ask. Amen.
Amen.
You'll join us with a pledge to the U.S. flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the next item on the agenda is public comment, and we've got Danny Athor with Atmos, along with Mark Williams is with him, and Robert Lopez. They wanted to come and speak, and we couldn't get them on the agenda. It was a little late on Friday, so they're going to speak in open forum about something they just wanted to apprise the court of. I think Commissioner Mims has been in contact with them also.
Yes, sir. So what I was gonna do is, I was gonna wait for you to call up utility crossing, since they're gonna have to do a right of way, just like we do regular utility crossings and what they're gonna do.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure they had a chance to speak, so I didn't know you were going to do that.
Yes, sir. I was gonna call them up there.
All right, do y'all want to wait till then? Yes, sir. Okay, that's fine. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So anybody else more?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, item number 4 is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is considered to be a self-explanatory, will be enacted with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. However, any consent agenda item may be removed for individual consideration pursuant to a request by a Commissioners Court member. We've got budget amendments. Get the numbers here. Which numbers are those?
24 through 26.
Okay. Oh, here they are. Here's mine. So it's budget amendments number 24 through 26, 2024. Also, consider approving bills and are approving utilities crossing county roads before they speak. Has anybody got?
No, sir.
No, sir, I haven't.
No, sir.
Yes, sir. I have Atmos Energy here, and they want to give us an update on what they have going on out there in Zone 6 and Precinct 2. They're going to have to use our right-of-way. We came to you once before with some seismograph testing and everything, but that was with a different company. This will be with Atmos, and at this time, I'll call Mr. Lopez and his colleagues up to the podium.
morning.
Thank y'all for coming this morning. Whichever one wants to go, you're welcome.
Yeah, so,
I think you got tagged, so.
yeah, I did get tagged, didn't I?
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you having us this morning. What we're here to discuss is proposing a microseismic survey so we could take a look at what's beneath the geological surface of these sinkholes that formed in the district you had mentioned. What we're concerned about is if we want to mitigate any sinkholes from growing, especially with the rains coming up in the next month or so that we usually expect, we want to make sure that the mitigation process to begin that we know what's exactly underground. If it's a depleted aquifer, we want to make sure that we could see the whole aquifer versus just a portion of it. And the microsurvey will address that by focusing on a small section of where we see these sinkholes. There's not going to be wide scale like you would see with the normal drilling operation. It's just focused on within 1 mile or so.
Okay, and the question I have for you also is, the one where Watkins Construction will be doing the 36-inch pipe, and it'll be crossing 2610 open cut bore. Will you go ahead and discuss that one, or do I need to get it approved separate from this one?
This would be a separate one. I think 36 line is a different project than what we're here for.
Okay, all right. Because I know you're gonna be working on the pipeline, as Mr. Adams told me, it's exposed in 1 or 2 places, so.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And did you want to say 36 inch on there?
Man, I don't know enough about that.
It's okay, I have it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna,
okay.
just gonna get it approved through there as a board, so they can go out and do whatever they need to. I know it is an admin's, request also. And,
Yeah.
I don't have enough knowledge to.
it's okay. I know the main reason y'all were here today was to address the sinkholes, correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows what's going on out there, that's what we're here for.
Okay. Yeah, because our main concern with the sinkholes is our brine pipeline that goes across there, and we just don't want it to exceed a certain span to where then we might compromise the actual pipeline. So, Atmos, we usually try to be a little proactive on it. So if we could find out as much information as we can, then we can move forward on the seismic and then what mitigation process we got to take.
Yes, sir. And the pipeline that is exposed is the, salt water.
Yeah.
Not the gas. For
Correct.
public's concern, it's the salt water, not the gas, not the
Correct,
natural
yes.
gas. Yes, sir.
It's brine water.
All right.
But other than that, any other questions or concerns regarding it?
No, sir.
I've been out there, so.
Yeah. They've, I think we've had a new one formed, so that's why this kind of got pushed to the top again. And this past weekend when we had some rains, we're going to go out there, look again, see if there's anything else that grew. So that's why we're trying to push it a little bit further along. And do you have anything to say about it?
And y'all could, we're just gonna give y'all authorization, use our right of way to post your. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
And that'd be the courts. That's what we need in minutes. They can use our right of way to have for access point to put in their seismograph. Stuff there.
Just for Mark, what was the county road again? So the Kurt's good,
I'm gonna hand him this one down there for the open cut and the bore up on the 2610.
2016?
Yes, sir. But they have all the roads they access through there, 2608, all of them. They're going through the whole Zone 6 area, basically. And that's where Bethel Cayuga plant for Adams Energy is. And I have a map to show you, Mark. So that's for both items. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Also, we've got to approve the minutes for, March 11th, 2024 meeting and receive and record Commissioner Chapin's disclosure statement required by chapter 176 and local government code. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Did you have somebody else speak up?
All right, item number 5 is consider and take action on the final plat for Harmony Acres RV Mobile Home Park, on, FM 645. Mr. Crawford?
Yes, sir, I am stand in to present this,
Yes, sir.
so you might not.
Just put your name and
Kevin.
who you represent on the record, please.
For the record, I'm Kevin Croft. I'm here to represent Susan and Carlos McGriff on their, final plat for the Harmony Acres RV mobile home on 645 Mobile Home Park.
And he has the maps here with him. They've met all the requirements for Christina, Emergency Management, all of us. They have all the letters of intent from, the electric company, water company. They have the highway form in their sign where they have access off of 645. So, I mean, at this current moment, there's nothing they need to do required by the county. And, they've met all our requirements. They paid all their fees with Mark, and Mr. Crawford's just up here to see this next phase go on. Thank you, Mr. Crawford.
Any questions? Any more special?
No, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the final plat for Harmony Acres RV Mobile Home Park on 645. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Item number 6 is consider and take action to purchase radios from capital outlay for the district attorney's office in the amount of $77.46. Morning.
Hello, I'm Tabitha Fronner, I'm an investigator for the district attorney's office. We got a proposal order for radios, because the radios we have are antiquated and they don't work anymore. So these are going to be for 3 investigators, me, Shaddix, and Luker. And then we'll have one in office for like just a home base, or if the attorneys need it to get a hold of us. It's mainly for safety issues if we're out in the county or the surrounding counties that we do go to find witnesses. They can get a hold of us, or if we don't have any cell phone signal, then we're able to get out on the radio to get help if we need it.
Is this a digital?
It is, yes, sir,
Okay. That way, if there's something happening in the courthouse, you can respond to it.
as well, yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions?
No, sir.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the purchase of the radios out of capital outlay for the district attorney's office in the amount of $7,746. And of course, you had the enclosure. I'll entertain that motion. Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
Item number 7 is consider and take action on a quote from Granicus, to record and transcribe the Commissioner's Court minutes for Anderson County Clerk's Office and authorize the county judge to sign the contract. Mr. Staples.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. So before you, this contract probably looks familiar. This is similar to what we looked at last year. The difference is on this contract, it is a 3-year contract. So basically the difference is on this one, it's not upgrading any equipment. It's not upgrading the camera or the sound system for the court that we have now. It's just the transcription and the video, so the public can go and access the video that they host, rather than going to YouTube and, relying on YouTube to keep our videos and hosting those here. They host the videos. You click on the agenda item and it takes you to the agenda item that you want to listen to. So you don't have to go through scrolling through trying to find out, if you're looking for agenda item number 6, you don't have to listen to the first 5. You can just click on that agenda item and it will pull it up for you. So what you have here, as you can tell on page 2, there's one-time fees of the equipment and installation. So they would come in and install the equipment that we need. And then the second part, the $17,630,675, is actually the transcription of the minutes. So basically they will transcribe all the minutes. They will do 25 meetings plus our budget meetings that we have every year. So again, this doesn't upgrade cameras. It doesn't upgrade the sound equipment that we have here. And they can actually transcribe the minutes with our existing equipment, but I can tell you from experience it's very hard because we have one single channel. So, and if you see all the mics here, anytime there's 2 people talking at the same time, and I know we don't realize it until we go back and listen. It's like, wow, I can't hear what one of you is saying because somebody else is speaking on the other side of the room or what have you. So that's something if you guys approve this today, I would recommend that even though they can use this existing equipment, that you look at trying to get something rather than a single channel audio and a single channel video, just because with a multi-channel audio, they can turn off, like, for instance, Commissioner Dixon, they can turn off his mic and hear what Commissioner Chapin's saying. So, any questions that I can help answer?
It's a one-time fee of $747.1. And what's the 17,636 mark?
So the 17,636 is going to be them transcribing the minutes. So what we showed an example of last year where they typed out the commissioner and what they're speaking. So it's going to be a verbatim transcription, just like if you went to court, except for it's not a court reporter, it's them transcribing the minutes. 25 meetings, and then the budget meetings as well. They bill on 25 meeting increments, and so she said if we, happen to go and do a lot more than 25, they would send us a warning basically and say, hey, by the way, we're going to start billing you at this bottom part, the 2-hour minimum at $190.02. But she said they would cover the budget meetings and the regular meetings that we have.
And then year 2 would be 18, and year
Right.
3 would be 19.
So they normally do a 1-year agreement. I had them do a 3 just because it locks in the price. It does go up 5%, but if you don't do that, then they could, any company basically could just name their price, and then you're like, oh, I didn't know it's going to go to that amount of money. It's pretty standard with the software companies we deal with. Like Tyler, our bill generally goes up 5%. My GovOS bill, they're on a tier where it's 5%. So I'm assuming it's pretty standard for software companies. So I was just trying to lock in the price, so that way, if they decide to go up 10% next year, we're not having to worry about it because we've got a 3-year contract.
Will this be a capital expenditure, Megan?
This was actually budgeted in capital outlay. The court budgeted $80,000 for this year.
That's what I thought.
They are aware we have a one-channel system right now.
Yes, sir. She said they can do it, but again, from typing the minutes that I have, it is difficult to type it when you have multiple people talking at one time.
Yes. Now he's using the tape recording and the video recording on YouTube to transcribe the minutes.
Correct.
And
This will be a big help for your office.
Yes, sir. I just put some numbers together real quick. So I went back to 2019, all the way to current. And basically, the 4-year average from 2019 to 2022, we had almost 23 hours of minutes to type. In 2023, we had almost 52 hours of meetings to type. So it more than doubled the amount of typing that we're having to do. I did go back and I thought, well, maybe this is an anomaly, but the first 9 meetings of last year and the first 9 meetings this year were the same. Basically, it was 3 minutes difference. So can't really compare yet because we only have a year and 4 months, but as we know, budget meetings come up and those are long meetings. And then, when we go to pass the budget, they tend to be long there as well. So I don't suspect it's going to go back to what it was in 2019 to 21, 22 minutes.
If we decide to do this and you're not happy with it, can we get out of the contract?
we talked about that when I talked to her back when we were looking at upgrading the camera systems and everything, which was about 70,000. And I think she indicated that, we're not happy in 6 months, but you've been talking to her, I've talked to her a little bit. I didn't ask that question on this agreement. Okay.
I didn't ask that question either. There are multiple counties, and I think it's in the contract, who use this company. They bought out the company that was doing the videos. They pretty much have the corner of the market on that. There is some other products out there, but not near to the quality of what we've seen. I've been talking to clerks and vendors for the last 6 months regarding this, and so I think this is the best way to go. Any more questions?
No, sir. I have none.
Initial was 25,298.46. If I added that up correctly. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract with Granicus to do the transcription for the clerk's office. With the initial cost being $25,298.46. Come out of capital outlay that's already budgeted for them. approve the 3-year contract.
I'll put it in form of a motion for 36 months, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered.
Thank y'all very much. I just wanted to say too, I forgot to mention, it will take them, she said, 3 to 4 weeks to install. So I'm presuming if I get it to them today, that it would be about a month before it got installed, so.
Would the court be all right with that single channel? Would y'all be all right, at least letting Mark look at trying to upgrade our sound system in the courtroom? You know, about the mics, since we do have the money's budgeted in capital outlay to help him. Would that be all right?
No problem.
But just for the record too, and I don't know this, I'd have to get Mike's still in? Yeah. I'd have to get Mike to verify, but I think the same sound system that works for this court actually is the same one that works over in the other courtroom as well. So it would not just be for this room, it would be, I would presume the area over here that they use as the courtroom as well.
They're two separate. Okay. It's housed in the same spot, but they're two separate, devices. But all the lines do run back into the cabinet. So if they were to do a multiple channel, they can, pretty easily. I think the only one that they might have to rerun is the one, for some reason, between y'all that we had, between, Ken and Joey.
So if you want to get with Mike and y'all look at that, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. All right. Item number 8 is consider to take action on approving a professional services statement of work with iPro for the Sheriff's Department mobile video project, with iPro and authorize county judge to sign the statement of work. I've got an update for everybody on the sheriff's system that we've been working on. There's a packet for each one. Y'all pass Mark one too, please. Yeah, give Megan one, please. All right, this thing started back in March of last year, and then we realized, back in April that, we needed a project manager. Tracy Simmental came and spoke to the court, apprised the court of what some of the problems were and how we could address it and get this thing up and running. So we, contracted with them to, we'd already spent over $500,000 on the project, but part of that project was not a project manager from GTS. So we contracted with them, and Commissioner Hill, actually, we talked about this during the court meeting, but you know, we were looking at they were projecting they could get it done in 4 weeks, and we've been going at this a year. So anyway, we contracted with them. They're actually, they started, once the project manager was appointed, that started April the 5th. And as of today, except for some minor things, they had to order another antenna that was gonna be more coverage for when the cars and things come into the parking lot to be able to download the video and things. So that's still being done. That's one thing. You've got a copy of that information in your packet about the antenna that's been ordered. Our IT staff worked with the GTS and iPro and the project manager with the sheriff's office. This was a statement of work. This was one thing that we didn't know about in the beginning that had to be ordered. It's a redaction server. So that's what that statement of work is for. The last invoice, which did you get a chance to talk to Trevor?
Oh, no, I never called him this morning.
Okay. There were some things that were, some receivables that were not paid for, but it was, part of it was to be paid for with the scope of the work that had not been finished. And so they have an invoice here for their last, from what I understand, the last invoice $38,375.96. So we need to approve that. Of course, we have bills on the agenda, so we can do that. We've got, let's see. If you look at and you can see all the things that went into trying to get this thing done. And, Trevor Henson was the project manager for GTS. And, after, of course, he had subject matter expertise to be able to take and knew the system, so we knew all the players, that were our vendors that we were working with, coordinating with IT to try and make sure that the project got done. And, you can see on the, I think it's the last page. Oh, at the bottom of the first page of summary, it says all tasks and action items above are completed. The iPro and Net Motion systems are fully operational. The remaining tasks or action items are below. The only open action item task for the iPro Net Motion project are lines 2 and 3. All other action items are new requests for billing. So I think that's the antenna. The Anderson County IT team and iPro team have been very effective in prioritizing the action items noted above, and the GTS team greatly appreciates the attention to completing the project. So that was kind of their summary. But I want to make sure the board had copies of that. And
GTS was the one that we went into contract with to help put this thing together for us. What was our original agreement with them on the, assistance for that? Do you have that?
you talking about from,
For,
At
the
the
4
beginning?
weeks ago, whenever we talked to them about stepping into this project.
it was a 14,000.
And so,
And that invoice will be invoiced when everything is complete, so
on the 14.5.
the 14, I believe that was it, 14,500, when I remember.
The 38,000 was for install that happened between July and October of last year.
On the 33.8.
The 30,
Oh, I'm sorry,
That
it
was,
goes over here.
that was the balance
Yeah, on
from
that 38.
the
Yes,
beginning of
sir.
the project that needed to be finished.
it was 4,993 and then 33,382.
That's for servers and other equipment, correct?
I'm sorry?
Is that for servers and other equipment?
It was, install from July to October of last year inside the vehicles.
Okay. So is that system working correctly now? Judge?
That's about been my report.
Is that scope of that work been checked?
Sheriff, do y'all know anything about, are y'all using it?
It is up and running now. Where do you mark it here? It is up and running now. We got it up and running last week. There's a few kinks to iron out and, some additional training on the redaction server and streaming server, but, other than that, it's 98% punched out. But the $38,000 bill that you're looking at, now that I understand what it is, I wasn't understanding from the judge's description, but Megan cleared it up. That was for all of the installs of the equipment that they put in the vehicles, during, last year.
That scope of work's been completed.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That actually makes the project going over budget with what the court approved from ARPA, but if the court just approves the payment, then that's fine.
What was the initial budget?
It was.
How much over?
600. I think
620.
650,000.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
All right, so as part of the motion, I would ask that,
620.
we, authorize me to sign the, statement of work with the iPro and authorize the payment for the $38,000.
Judge, what about the quote for the antenna? Did you want to add that to it?
Yeah, what,
520? 520?
oh, okay. That's what you were gonna kind of double check on, but that was it.
And where,
$520.
did you plan on getting the excess from? A certain fund or?
I mean, it would come out of ARPA, I believe.
Still coming out of ARPA.
If we approve that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We'd have to approve it before it's come out. How much over the $650,000 was it?
It's over 20,000.
20,000?
There were some things that we did not know at the beginning that we were gonna have to purchase. So, that's gonna add to the project.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion. I added it up with the 520. Entertain a motion to approve, paying for, the final invoice with, iPro for $38,895.96, and authorize the county judge to sign the statement of work. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Do they need to include in that motion, though, that it needs to come out of ARPA? Because we didn't have it designated.
Yeah.
It needs to be included.
Yeah, I guess we do. All right, I'll entertain a motion to amend the original motion to, show that the funds will come out of the ARPA funds. Do I have a motion to amend?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor for the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so ordered on that. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the, original motion as amended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
All right, item number 9 is consider and take action on the reappointment of Dee Dietz and Amanda Bailey to the Anderson Cherokee County Enrichment Services or Access Board of Trustees. So, not long ago, we did, Joe Tinsley, if y'all remember, he replaced Sharon Davis after she went off the board. But this is just a reappointment of our current members, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the reappointment of Dee Dietz and Amanda Bailey to the Anderson County, Enrichment Services or Access Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 10 is consider to take action on the annual contract between Anderson County and the Natchez Volunteer Fire Department. We actually have their, financial statement and, we're prepared to approve their contract, their annual contract for $20,000. I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract or annual contract, Anderson County and Natchez Volunteer Fire Department.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 11, consider to take action on adopting order number, 003/2024, authorizing the sale of fireworks to the public by retail fireworks permit holders during the Memorial Day, period beginning May the 22nd, 2024, and, ending at midnight, May the 27th, 2024. So, I've had a question or two about this, but essentially, the state has we have to take up, and the court knows this because we've done it multiple times, there's certain periods of time that we have to authorize because of potential burn bans and things like that, to make sure we're not in a burn ban or in a unsafe, fire situation. So, and with all the rain, I don't think we have to worry about that. So, but this is just something we have to do before some of the holidays, so it's not that we're authorizing, for that holiday, that's state requirement. So I'll entertain a motion to approve, order number 003/2024, 2024, authorizing the sale of fireworks to the public by retail fireworks permit holders for the Memorial Day holiday. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. All right, item number 12 is here, from the county auditor regarding the, American Rescue Plan funds to provide clarity to the definition of obligate as it applies to any funds, not spent essentially on or under the contract by, that's not under a contract by 12/31/2024. Ms. Lambert.
The obligation interim final rule came out, and I just wanted to let the court aware of what obligate means. And it's essentially what the agenda item states is that, you know, anything, it has to be under a contract for us to be able to spend it after 12/31/24. And then, because, you know, we've been saying this whole time, we have to spend it, we have to obligate it by 12/31/24 and then spend it by 26. So they came out with the definition of obligate, and it's continues to mean any order placed for property and services and entry into contracts, subawards, and similar transactions that require payment. So I just wanted the court to be aware that we have to have some sort of contract for us to be able to spend it after 12/31/24.
So if it's not under contract, then we gotta send the money back.
We'll have to send it back the 1st of 25. Yes, sir.
Okay. So
How could we do that, like with Road and Bridge, or as?
That was actually, that example was stated at my conference, and there was someone from TAC that spoke, and that's not something that you could do either. You can't say, oh, I'm gonna buy, road
Or,
material
yeah.
and, you know, pay you next year. It's not something, it has to be a legitimate contract, like, infrastructure or, you know, we did it with, Meals on Wheels. We have a contract for that. Or the fire departments, we have contracts for that as well.
Did we actually write a contract on each of the fire departments? or
Yes,
just
there was
obligated?
an amendment to the original contract that we did that year.
But even if they're not spent out, then that contract can't be written for Road and Bridge the same way, a committed amount like that,
No,
because they had no idea what they were spending it on.
but we gave them 50,000. That was in the contract.
Okay. So we'll have to check with TAC and just to see, I mean, we got time to do and just see if there's any worded contract that would bind it to Road and Bridge.
Cause I mean, it's hard for us to get a contract, you know, on road materials or whatever we're gonna spend it on.
Okay,
That was specifically
Fair
an
enough.
example that they used that we could not do.
Right, okay.
okay, I
Does
appreciate
that
it.
apply to the funds that you've already placed in each road and bridge?
You'll have to use it by 12/31/24.
Yeah, and see, some of mine are enhanced from my general budget, so, you know, that's why I say I have to get mine spent or find out from TAC if there's any other kind of contracted obligation that we can have, you know, to the, you know, could be amended to it, so.
Also,
Say.
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
you're fine.
Also, I gave you the quick reference guide for that. It also says that if you, like if there was something for infrastructure, there cannot be a change order done
At the
and
end.
money added to it. You can't do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
All right, item number 13 is, here an update from Commissioner Mims on his plan for the remodel for the Civic Center as requested by the court at the, February regular Commissioners Court meeting. Consider replacing the Civic Center leaking roof with ARPA funds before it sustains additional damage. Since that was on, and it's a later item about the ARPA funds, but, I wasn't sure, you know, where Commissioner Mims was in trying to develop a plan, but since we were talking about ARPA and the roofs leaking, I just wanted to put that on there, so if we needed to discuss anything about trying to replace the roof, I just don't want us to get to a place where we have a damaged building that the COs wouldn't be able to remodel. If we end up getting severe damage inside the Civic Center, then that may limit the funds that we have for being able to take and remodel it with the certificates of obligation at the court bar. So and you may or may not have any information, but I just thought that was a discussion we
Well, I
needed to have about the roof.
I stepped in, and asked Commissioner Mims if he would hold up on his plans that he had. I reached out to Gregory Miller with Biggerstaff, and they agreed to come here and talk to the Commissioners Court where we have the leaking roof. I would like the Commissioners Court to consider tearing that part of it down. There's been an issue talked about that we couldn't tear. It was limited on how much we could destruct. You know, he said that he'd like to look at it before he says that we can't, so that's kind of where I left, Commissioner Mims with it, that I talked to Megan last week and told him that I was going to have him come here. We're going to set a date, have him tell the Commissioner's Court exactly what. I don't see putting ARPA funds into something that, you know, if we're going to destruct it and build it back with the COs, that would just be a waste of money for us at that point. But the area where it's leaking at is almost to the point of where we need to either take that roof height down, do something with that slope floor. So that's what I talked to Mr. Miller about, was could we go in, take the roof down off that thing and then fill the floor in, you know, like you would, just to completely redo that one side of it. He said he didn't feel like there'd be a problem, but he'd like to come here and address the court with it. So that's where I left Commissioner Mims with it.
So what, Commissioner Chapin is saying, he reached out to Biggerstaff, and, they're supposed to come down and examine if we can level that floor like our original plan, and if we can tear all the other excess around there off and just save the main core and build around it. But,
Okay, I know you
that's-
understand
that's what,
the original floor,
the slope floor is in the building.
but then, see, this is where it's leaking. It's leaking between the multi-purpose room and that front lobby and auditorium, so it's right there where that comes
Yes, sir.
together.
But,
Anyway,
I
I
know
didn't
that's
know if
what-
y'all knew that's where
Yes,
it's
sir.
leaking or not, but.
But that's the question that he's asked, because it was told to us that we couldn't do the floor that way and all that. But let me go back to my introduction. Thank you, Judge, for putting this on the agenda. And after careful consideration and speaking with taxpayers of this county, I have an update and a recommendation of a plan to move forward. There is a consent with, that here in Anderson County, I feel, along with other taxpayers, we need a true convention center. I have invited some community people here today to speak about their concept of how we should use the building, and to speak about how they feel those funds should be used. So at this time, I would like to call up a few, and I'll give each one of them 5 minutes at a time to address the court, because they've been wanting to talk about this item. Before we go any further, I have some of the hotel motel people here who are back here. They want to talk about the high fund and how they feel it should be used. Any one of your hotel people, if you would like to come first, go ahead and come on up. I'd ask you to speak. You got 5 minutes, and then, because this is an agenda item that concerns you, and we're using your taxes from people staying in your beds to go from. And so, Mr. Patel?
Morning, everybody. I'm Veer Patel, the owner of the La Quinta in Palestine, right on the south. Thank you for taking this time and inviting us, some of our hotel folks here. So we've just heard a lot of things. I've spoken to some of y'all at the sidebar. Judge, I've spoken to you about plans and stuff. It just seems like there's a lot going on. Different kind of, we want this, we want that, et cetera. From my perspective is it would be useful to have an event center, something like this in town, but it needs to be able to, we need to look forward thinking as well, right? We can't just build something small for today. And then you've seen the explosive growth in our county, thanks to a lot of the work that y'all do. Something small could support today in the next couple of years, but we need to have it modular, right? It's be able to have a multifunction. I'm sure a lot of y'all, people sitting in the back, people listening, yourselves have been in different event centers and conference zones where you can host multiple people and then have concurrent sessions in a breakout. So just kind of wanted to see and hear from y'all what the plans are, what the thought process is, et cetera. Because I know a lot of the community asks us, hey, they're leveraging y'all HOP funds, which is the hotel occupancy tax funds that the county takes from our guests. Where is that going? What's it for? And every time I'm just saying, I don't know. I've heard this, I've heard that, and that's just from my personal perspective. So that's what I wanted to say.
But your main concern is you want the county to try to help have an event center so they can put heads in your beds, correct?
Yeah, and then that's the other thing. If you're leveraging those funds, there's specific guidelines and rules on how you can leverage those funds, and I'm more than happy to connect y'all with some of the folks in Austin that work on our hotel legislature for the entire state, because it's so important that we do that, because you need to see an ROI, right, if you're leveraging those funds. We've had this discussion on the city level, now bringing it to the county level as well with those tax funds.
All right.
But essentially, that's to help y'all put heads in the beds.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the major, use of those funds.
Yep.
Just try to have tourism, activities that are going on, and that may be, different events, but it's to make sure that y'all are getting people.
yeah, and
in your
it's
hotels.
a domino effect,
And it's a
right?
basically, it's a tax that y'all are paying
Yep.
to the county
Hmm.
that, and it's about 200,000 a year, I think is what we're
Yep,
seeing.
right around there.
So, I think we got a total of something over 400,000.
That's
So
correct.
we can kind of anticipate 600,000 for the year.
Because
And essentially, the statute, I think it talks about, actually doing maintenance and repairs and,
Staffing.
I'll have to look at the staffing, but I think basically that would come under maintenance and repairs.
Yes,
It's
sir.
just to operate
Yes,
the model.
operate.
To operate the
It
building.
essentially to operate the facility.
Gotcha. And so the other thing I want to tell, at least caution y'all is, I know it's not going to cost us taxpayers that live in the county and operate our businesses up front, but from a long-term perspective, also look at, it's going to cost us to staff, market, you need technical, AV, and then obviously keeping up with the technology, right? Just earlier today, we mentioned the AV in this room, right? You just keep that in the back of your mind
It's
is,
always changing.
yeah, because that 2% that y'all collect from all the hotels may not be enough, right? So it's always changing. That number could go up, that number could go down, just to keep it in the back of y'all's mind. And another thing is it's not only affecting hotel owners and motel owners in town, it's a domino effect. These folks stay in our hotels.
That's right.
They're gonna use our gas stations.
Exactly, grocery stores, our restaurants, our bars, they're gonna come and see our community and go back home and tell everyone about the amazing experience they had, and that in turn is gonna bring so much positive effect to our community.
That's right, but that enhancement that comes into our economy can always roll over.
Yep.
Because as you're doing better, you're gonna do better for somebody else, and it'll stay within our economy
Exactly.
most of the part. So it'll be a continuous, influence over our income of what it does to enhance that. But yes, we need that for sure.
So when you said looking towards the future, you said we could build something today, but looking toward the future. You mean that we actually need a building that can meet the needs of future growth, not a building that could just have so many people in it today. But what about 2 years down the line, we expand tremendously, and we only got a building that's holding a certain number of people, then we need to build elsewhere because we don't have enough to meet the
Room to
needs of
expand.
Yes.
Right, exactly. So, having something modular, you can have multiple events. We have so many events in our town or in our county where we're running out of space. There's so many. You name them. Meals on Wheels isn't big enough. Some folks are leveraging other things outside of the county or out of the township to just figure out how to piece it all together, right? So, like I said, 5-10 years ago, our town and county wasn't as explosive from an economic growth standpoint. Look at it now, right? So I just want to encourage y'all to put that.
Your occupancy right now is around 75 to 77%, isn't that correct?
A little bit lower than
65
that,
to 70.
yeah.
65.
But I
to
mean, if we grow with this and get bigger and bigger, the future would be to see even more hotels come in, right?
Correct, yeah.
And we talked before about maybe getting one in here that's big enough to attract one big enough that would host conventions and conferences as well within itself.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be?
you're right. But with that occupancy number, it's always varying, right? Depending on what projects are going on, right? We have a massive project at Walmart that's taking up a lot of occupancy in the hotels. So-
Right now, they're teaching them the robots and putting the systems out there.
Right, but again, that's
It's only gonna be here for a
it's
season.
only a couple years, and once the
It's
project's
gone.
done, then we're kind of back to our normal occupancy levels, right? But who
Yes.
knows, if y'all bring in another business that's huge, that can change the whole economy of our county, then we're talking about something different, so.
Yes, sir.
What Commissioner Shaken was talking about is our bond council. Because that was done in, I think it was approved by court, October 25th of 2021. So we've been doing this over 3 years. And, so what we'd asked the auditor to do is see what can we do with those funds, okay? Now, if you wanna go back and look, that was presented in, on our, you can see the videos with all the PowerPoints, 20th, and then again on February the 26th meeting. It's on our website.
Yep.
Okay? Just because there's maybe people here that are interested in the project, but at least we need to make informed decisions, or at least let them know kind of where we stand, and he's wanting bond counsel to come explain it, maybe more detailed and answer our questions, so doesn't hurt to have more information.
Agreed.
But so just to kind of bring you up to speed and everybody that's sitting out here that may be interested in this project, the court borrowed $6.4 million, okay, back in 21 with certificates of obligation. All right. After the issue of the bond, all that was paid, then what was deposited in the treasury with Anderson County, the money that's there, $6.3 million. The court spent about $400,000 on architects and whatever, surveys, trying to see what they could do with the project, okay? They, went out for, got pricing for trying to turn it into a conference center, just a conference center. And we had about 5.8 million after some of those other fees, the 400 and something thousand. It's back to about $5,933,000 is what's in the bank, okay? Maybe a little more because we've been getting some interest. So essentially, that's what we have to work with. Now, originally, and I think Commissioner Mims alluded to this, that prior administration wanted a whole lot of fancy stuff in that building, and it got bid for about, I think it was $9 million, okay? So that didn't happen. So trying to look at the best, from my perspective, is look at the best use of the building and try to stay within budget. If you go back to the June 20th meeting in 23, we had a budget workshop on ARPA, and we discussed exactly maybe moving elections out there, looking at some office, and then making as many conference rooms as we could to try to address, because yes, you do have a valid point that your money's coming to the county and it needs to be used to take and put heads in your beds. And I'd actually talked to Alex about trying to set up another meeting, like Commissioner Mims and I met with all the hotel owners back January, I think January
Last year.
25th of 23. Yeah, last year, at the beginning of the year. And so I wanted to try to set up another meeting to at least have another discussion, because y'all are vested in this project, however it goes. So, so we're all on the same page. When the auditor, and this is the report that she gave us after asking that she find out what we could use the money for, bond counsel came back, and we'll have those questions of them if they're here in court. But bond counsel came back and said, you can't tear it down and build a new one. Okay? You can't sell it and just give the money back. You can't take the money and use it in another location. It's specific to only remodel that building, that facility, and it can't be used anywhere else, okay? This is the alternative. If we don't remodel that building using those funds, then we have to move that money to an escrow account. We'll draw interest on it, and that interest will be paid to the bonding company, okay? Not to us. It will go to them. And the second part of that is we're gonna have to still pay the $400 and something thousand in principal and interest until 2031, okay? So right now, the schedule is just over $8 million, okay? Just over $8 million to remodel that facility, principal and interest, and it's gotta be paid at 2042, okay? If we take and move it to an escrow account, draw interest, pay the bonding company, and then at the end of the 2031, we're essentially gonna pay more in principal and interest, or at least as much in principal and interest, and we get no remodeled civic center at all. So we're gonna pay over $8 million one way, we get nothing, or we're gonna pay below over $8 million and we get a remodel civic center. That's the only options bond council indicated that we can do, okay? So that's kind of, for me, that's kind of a quagmire. It'd be nice to maybe, like we talked about, tear it down, build a new facility, exactly meeting our needs. But right now, from the information we got, we're locked into those two options. Either you get a remodel civic center, or you get nothing, and you still pay $8 million. So I'm not for paying $8 million and getting nothing, so.
For sure.
Now-
We're definitely
now,
gonna do
as-
something. There's something gonna happen. Whenever the bond council comes, I will notify you where you can come in and set it, if y'all would like to sit in on the meeting. But we'll get the interpretation from them directly. That way, there's nobody, as far as understanding what's going on. But we're gonna have a conference center of some type. We will not turn it into offices and whatnot. That was a concern that's been talked about. I mean, we're gonna try to meet demands that will try to draw us in something that will enhance our opportunity of income for our economy. Because that's to be one of the first investments that we've made. We have millions of dollars of roads, we have millions of dollars of buildings, that accommodate a lot of needs that meet, the demands of these people. But we have never invested in anything that would bring any enhancement back to our economy, like what the conference center will, bringing people in here to be able to buy, like you say, buy our gas, our fuel, stay in our hotels, our foods, and expose them to Anderson County, and giving you the opportunity and the business owners the opportunities to make the money back. And the monies you make, it'll roll over in our economy continuously. So it's a very serious thing. I think this court's taken as a whole, so we will put a lot of effort into it.
So at this time, though, I would like to give the floor to some of our guests who took their time to come in. And the reason why I want to give it to them, because I think we need to hear the concerns of the people. I think we need to hear what they're actually truly looking for, because yes, there are plans that have been presented. And as Judge stated, he stated on the plan in January and the one in February, those are plans, but I don't think the consistency of the court is with certain plans. I think that we have to find a plan together for the people, but first, by doing that, we have to listen to the taxpayers. I think the original plan was a great plan. It's just, as Judge stated, it came over budget, $3 million. Well, then you go back to the drawing board. But during that time, when it came over budget, $3 million, we were post-pandemic. Everything was high. Right off the bat, if we go back out for those same bids right now, you're going to lose $1 million off of it. We're back to the drawing board with 2. As Judge stated, we have 5.9 sitting there. We will have to spend about $8 million by the end of this. Okay. If we were $3 million over the 6, you take away $1 million just by material. If we go back in and if we trim down all the excess, we make the acoustics in the right fashion and everything. We don't have to have this a Taj Mahal for the city of Palestine, for Anderson County,
right.
but have it a grand hall where we can have people come in
right.
and we can bring people into this community. That's my vision. That's what we need. But at this time, what I'd like to do, if it's okay, because we've heard a lot of the history on this, I want to ask some of the audience members to come up and give their take on what they feel the county needs. So if there's any other hotel people, we're going to give you the floor. I need everyone just to state their name, their address, and what they want to say. If not hotel, whoever else want to come up next, please come. Just someone take the floor.
Well, instead of putting their address, since it's on the record, it's live.
Okay, just state your
say
name.
What precinct you live in or something.
You state your name and your precinct.
My name is Steve Presley. I live in Greg Chapin's precinct. So, as having been on council and mayor and on the Texas State Railroad Authority Board, I have some information to just add to what's been discussed. When the original idea was proposed, it was brought to council with the thought in mind of the hotel occupancy tax. Did we support that or not? Our legislators, to get that passed, insisted that we have support from the council. So when in my mind, when we heard that it was going to build that y'all were going to build a conference center there, that was great news for us. And the Civic Center, as it was just not really practical or usable. So a conference center typically is something with a large meeting room and then a bunch of breakout rooms from that. There are literally hundreds of organizations across the state that look for new places to go all the time. They get tired of going to Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio. And so they look for new places to go. So Palestine would be an interesting place for them. And that does bring in all the income, as y'all have already mentioned. But additionally, we know from the Texas State Railroad that those people that come to visit, we see them again afterwards. They'll come in and go and ride the train, and then they'll see them later in downtown Palestine shopping. And I've had merchants down there ask, and I've asked them about it. And they have all kinds, they'll come back, this is a great place, and they'll come back on the weekend for a girls' weekend, or the guys go play golf, or they all do something together. But we get a lot of return trips, which then adds even further to the money that's spent here. And those people that come back have a lot more disposable income, and they're coming here to spend as much money as they possibly can. So that adds to sales in our businesses. It adds to sales tax that's direct revenue to the county, and hotel occupancy tax that's direct revenue to the county. So I think the conference center idea is extraordinarily good for our community. And if it does take more to get that done, I think if the taxpayers look forward, me as a taxpayer, a significant taxpayer in this county, I think that in the long run, it makes things cheaper or holds costs down, because our sales and hotel occupancy tax rates will grow at a faster clip than if we don't build an adequate conference center. So my suggestion would be that because hotel occupancy tax can be dedicated to, just to know from city stuff, can be dedicated to a conference center or civic center, that I'm just asked the question, what's the possibility about creating a revenue bond with part of that income that you're receiving from the hot money, the hot funds, to pay out the rest of whatever you need to add to that $6 million? Because if you did an extended length bond on that and used part of your hot funds, that still leaves some left for operations, and then later on you could, as the hot funds, your share grew because you're bringing more people in, then you'd have more and more for operations later, but you'd lock in your just a portion of it for the additional debt that you'd need to carry out whatever your goals ended up being. But whatever it needs to be, it's not that it needs to be fancy. If y'all have been to what's the big conference center in Houston, George R. Brown, it's an ugly building. It's not a beautiful building. It doesn't have to be beautiful to attract people here. It's the community that's beautiful, not the building. So we don't have to build a fancy looking building. We can trim, that's an easy place to trim. Architects and designers get these things, and they want to show it as one of their signature buildings, and so they don't mind spending an extra $1 million of our money to make it look pretty.
Yes, sir.
Ultimately,
they come in over the $3 million. We didn't do that. We just presented them an idea. They come back with the clouds, the chandeliers, and all, and that's what we told them. Take it all out. That's
to the conference goers. It's not going to make any difference. To the taxpayers, it does make a difference. I'd rather we not waste our money on that kind of stuff. That we build a bigger center instead of that. So y'all are smart enough to figure out how to do that with that. But that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Williams?
Morning, Judge.
Morning, how are you?
Commissioners.
Yes, sir.
My name is Ernie Williams. Mr. Chapin, I believe that you are my
Yes, sir.
county commissioner. Thank you for your service
Yes,
and
sir.
for caring as much as you do about our county and our city. Ken, good to see
How
you.
you doing?
In fact, I thank all of you guys for your commitment to the people of Anderson County. The work that you do is pretty amazing, and I'm grateful for it. And I think I'll speak on behalf of everyone in the audience today. Having a conference center, in my opinion, is very necessary. Going back almost 30 years, I've bought all type of concerts into Palestine. Our kids got kicks out of those types of events, and there's just no place for it now. I mean, just not the entertainment aspect of it. I'm in the insurance industry. 2 weekends ago, I was in Frisco for a convention. This weekend, I will be in Kentucky, June, Las Vegas, July, New York, August, Memphis. You get worn out. But there are so many people that I talk to, guys from like Progressive Insurance, guys from Liberty Mutual, that would give us a look to bring those type of things here, because most of the time it's road shows that these guys have, and they want regular citizens to see them up close and personal, be able to feel, because insurance is almost a hated industry. Nobody likes insurance, especially now with the rates going up. And they want to get as close to the community as possible. And when we're up in Frisco, everybody wants to see the Dallas Cowboys stuff and all of that, but what about Palestine? I've lived in Palestine now for the last 4 years, and I grew up here and spent the first 18 years of my life. Well, that middle 40 years I was gone. And like many of us here today, I'm getting long in the tooth. I have children, grandchildren, and hope someday great-grandchildren, but I want them to see part of Palestine's legacy. And I believe that having a conference center here like that, it just feeds into it. Bringing stuff from Nashville, like parts of the Grand Ole Opry. Most kids will never see that stuff. And they're going on road shows all around us. They go to Tyler, they go to Longview, they go to places like that. Well, why not us? There are so many things that we have that we can draw on. Some of the larger name acts that would love to come to Palestine, there's just no facility for them. And I know I'm speaking from the entertainment aspect, but along with that stuff, there are chances for conferences. People that come in for the Polar Express, they come in, they shop, meal around, but they leave. But what if there were things that was here to capture not just them, but our regular citizens as well while they're in? So, Commissioner Mims, I see your vision on this, and I feel it because I've had the opportunity to use it. Going to Meals on Wheels is great for very, very small audiences. Just for Black History Month in February, there was a great opportunity to bring so many more people, but we had to stop it, I think, at like 200. We had to cap it at 200. Well, why not 600? Why not 1,000? Why are we turning that type of stuff away? In June, we'll have a Juneteenth festival here in Palestine. I hope and trust that we'll have a great turnout. But what if there was a very, very nice place where we could capture the minds of 1,300 people, 1,400 people watching a great display all together? So that's my 2 cents worth. But guys, again, thank you. But I just know this is something that's very viable, and we absolutely need it. It's not a nice to have. It's something that we actually need to have because these dollars are going other places. They're not coming.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Ms. Jessica?
Good morning, Judge, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am in Mr. Chapin's precinct 1, and I want to speak on behalf of a lot of the...
State your name.
Jessica Hawkins. I want to speak on behalf of a lot of the nonprofits I've been involved in. We are very limited on the activities that we can do to fundraise in Palestine just because there's not a place big enough to get, kind of like Mr. Williams said, enough people in. I can tell you that Commissioner Mims actually helped us recently. We had a Blankets and Bears fundraiser gala at the Knights of Columbus Hall, and it was in terrible condition. It took us hours and hours and hours to clean it to a point that it was even safe enough to have food in that building because there was actually sewage coming up out of the drain holes in the floor. So where we have here in town is just not adequate. We don't have the places, and because of the size restrictions, there's so much that we cannot do. There's so much more that we could do if we could bring in, like, for instance, I moved here from Nacogdoches, and they have a sizable expo center there. They have, I was part of an organization that put on basically just kind of a shopping event in Christmas, and it was a 4-day event. It brought in tons of money for that organization that sustained it the rest of the year round because they had a location to be able to do that. So we could think outside the box and have some different opportunities instead of gala after gala after gala, which right now, that's pretty much our only option because that's all that we can accommodate here in Palestine. So it would just open up so many things for the nonprofits in town and kind of let us not kill everybody with the same thing over and over and over again.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have another local business owner here.
My name is Heather Giles. I am majority owner of J&K Electrical Services here in Palestine, which is in Commissioner Mims' precinct, and I live in Commissioner Dixon's precinct. I moved to Anderson County in August of 1995. My sister and I both had our high school graduations at the Civic Center, and I'm not going to tell you what year that was, but I will say that Sheriff Flores was still Texas Ranger Flores. 21 years later, I watched my son graduate in that Civic Center. I've watched my nieces, my nephews, their friends, kids that I've adopted as my own graduate there. I've seen plays, I've gone to conferences and attended no telling how many gun shows there. I miss the Civic Center. I miss having somewhere that we can go to for conferences, for conventions, the nonprofits, as Jessica said. We need a place to have conferences. We need space to have fundraisers, to give books to the kids, the Literacy Festival for United Way. If it's raining, where are they going to have that? We need that option. The Literacy Festival, kids love that. I'm part of multiple service organizations. One of them asked me recently if I would please do a district convention in 2026 here in Palestine. That's going to be about 200 to 300 people if we do it right. Just the members of the organization. That's not counting their spouses and kids that'll come with them to be downtown shopping, to be in the hotels, to go down to Dogwood Trails, the parks, all of that. That's a lot of people. Where am I going to have that? What am I going to do with that? Because in the evening, it is a family function. I need somewhere that's going to be able to accommodate 500-600 people probably. There's nowhere for that. And we need somewhere for that. We're right smack dab in the middle of Dallas and Houston. Sanderson Farms, they have annual conventions, conference. They never have it in Palestine because there's nowhere to have it in Palestine. That's thousands and thousands of dollars in revenue for Anderson County that we could have in our pockets with this convention center versus a building that we put offices in and doesn't really get much revenue for the county. Utility bills, even a brand new remodels, there's going to be upkeep. You know, you're going to have breakers blowing, you're going to have shorts and wires and things like that. You're going to have a roof leak because of storm. You're going to have HVAC issues. You're going to have plumbing issues. There's going to be upkeep, even with the brand new building. I see it all the time. I get the phone calls all the time from customers that are residential, commercial, industrial. We need something in there that's going to get the county thousands of dollars in revenue. With that revenue, we would have a much larger budget for our sheriff's department, for raises, for better equipment, for more bulletproof vests, for more cameras, retention bonuses. I mean, sign-on bonuses are great, but what if the county could give really good retention bonuses every year? This would help that. One of the issues that everybody had with this convention center when we first got it was the way that it was done. And I understand that. There are some on the commissioner's court that they make decisions based on what they want. They don't go out and talk to their constituents. They don't even know who their constituents are. Everyone here was voted in to make a vote based off of what the majority of your constituents want. In politics, I see way too often politicians do not vote according to their constituents' wants and needs. I would love to see the Commissioner's Court vote based on what the majority of Anderson County would like to see.
Amen.
I want to thank you all for listening to me, for what I had to say, and I hope that you take my opinion in consideration when y'all decide what to do with this convention center.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hugh?
Good morning. I'm Hugh Summers. Most of you, I've met with you and worked with you and all that. And tell you the truth, I can't remember which one of y'all, I'm in the, where I live is.
It's okay, Mr. Hugh.
Y'all know which, anyone near the old Alamo School? Anyway, but anyway, you what?
He's in 4. He's in 4.
4 or 2? 4, okay.
Yeah, he's in
okay.
4. He's on the other side of
Okay,
Children's Precinct.
okay. Yeah, the way they have it divided up sometimes is kind of hard, but anyway. Yeah, but main thing I'm here for is just to say, we sure hope y'all can get something going, because like Rotary, y'all know I'm in Rotary as well as a big chunk of the folks here today and all. And we just got through with a convention down in Lake City, and it was a beautiful hotel, but it was expensive as the devil. And I know everybody I talked to said basically that, you know, they wish it was less expensive so we could have more people come and all that. And so we don't need it real fancy, as some of y'all were talking about. We just need a good location to have all this, have our conventions and such as that. And we've got a pile of different organizations here, like Rotary. We're going to have ours. We've tried to hopefully get something going with this before our 2005, when Leon Wilhite is going to be our governor. And so we're going to have to host it here somewhere. And, you know, we're going to have part of it at the Dadgum High School, because we don't have places big enough to do it otherwise. And luckily we can do that. And none of the gals wanted it at the military deal that we've got out there, and because of no air conditioning and all that. And even though I suggested, well, we can bring an air conditioner portable in, but you know, these gals, they like it a little nicer than that, so I can understand that. But anyway, you know, we got Rotary, we got Lions Club, we got Chamber, New Orleans clubs, Mardi Gras groups that have big get-togethers occasionally, and political meetings. And I was looking at some of the smaller churches need some bigger places to have their conferences and all that. Most of this stuff y'all kind of heard some before, but even special plays, where we used to have some out there, and I know I've been filming them for 20 plus years and stuff like that, and now they're having to go to the high school to auditorium to do those, some of that kind of stuff. And and the disasters, I know I used to be our disaster chairman for the Central U.S. for Rotary, and I remember when we had one of the big disasters, and we were hosting a whole pile of people here, and we used the Civic Center to help kind of have it as a central place, you know, which was really handy. It was plenty big. And but anyway, and of course y'all have heard about the heads and beds already, and which is important. And but anyway, everything, most of the stuff has already been said. And the main thing I guess I'm really pushing for is to get something done as soon as we can, so that people, because we need 1 to 2 years on most of these bigger things to plan where we're going to be. And so we need to get something going on it. And I've seen several of the plans that y'all have been presented in the past, you know, and I don't know which one is by far the best. I mean, obviously the biggest for the money is what we need, I guess. But anyway, I should hope that y'all will make something happen pretty quick and get something going so that we can do planning for the future meetings that we have in our area. And thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate all y'all's work, and thank y'all for Safety Town and all these other things y'all been helping us with.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Other business owner here, Mr. Chris.
Hello. I'm Chris Keller. I own Pint and Barrel Draft House. I live in Precinct 4. It would definitely help my business having people come into town. It doesn't. I mean, just for an example, we had the Dulcimer Festival during the Dogwood Trails Festival, right? They used to meet over at the old high school, which became the museum and is now shut down. Now they're meeting at a church, and they like to get together and jam. I mean, that's what they're there for. They're there to play music, and
to be at a church.
Yeah, and so they came to our place and jammed over there, as they do every year. But they need a little more of that, and more people keep coming to this thing. So and more people keep coming to my place. So yeah, I'm just echoing what everybody else is saying over here. We need a place, and you know, when we've got choices like the KC Hall, which is you know, that's gonna hold the people, but it's not gonna work out for us as well, so. But, yeah, I mean, it's only gonna help everybody to bring all of this stuff in, so. And I remember seeing the plans for the Civic Center originally when the bonds were sold and we got this project going. I'm like, yes, this looks amazing. And we just need to carry on, yeah.
We need to carry on.
Yes, appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
for
Mr. Keller.
Thank you.
Mr. Tim Patel, would you like to speak, or? Would you like to speak, Mr. Parker?
Yeah, my name is Tim Patel. I've been in town about 14 years. I have 2 hotels here in town. I have the Motel 6 and the Express Inn and Suites. Initially, 3-4 years ago, you guys put the proposition of adding the county tax in. I do business in 8 to 10 different towns. None of those towns have the county tax. Once the county tax was put in, it can be either 1 or 2%. Anderson County chose the maximum, which is 2%. So the money's been collected for 3 years, the money's sitting there. I'd just like to see something productive done with it. In my opinion, something productive for the hotels would be a facility as big as possible that can be broken out into smaller rooms. That's what I would like to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patel. Ms. Debbie Walker?
Judge, Commissioners, I'm in Precinct 2. My name's Debbie Walker, and I'm as well in several different service organizations. And I was part of the Blankets and Bears, and I'm going to tell you the Knights of Columbus needs so much work, and that is the only facility in Anderson County that will hold that many people. We're talking about moving it to Lakeview next year, which is going to be kind of a commuting nightmare. But we're talking about moving it there next year because the experience was so bad this year. The maintenance, literally, there was septic coming up. Rob Wilson came in the middle of the event because the food was in one of the rooms, and he said, I want you to see this. It was leaking underneath the floor into the room where the food was. It was so bad. I've been here since '74. My children their proms were at the Civic Center. Their graduations were at the Civic Center. My oldest grandson's graduation was at the Civic Center. There is no other facility here that will hold that many people. And we desperately, desperately need it. Mr. Summers referred to the Mardi Gras. We did that at the Tawakara one year. They had porta potties outside. I mean, picture women in evening gowns having to go outside to use a porta potty because there were no facilities there. I mean, we just desperately, desperately need something here in Anderson County. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you like to speak also, sir? It's another hotel owner here.
Good morning. My name is Pete Patel with the Comfort Suites on the South Loop. And just want to concur what a lot of people have said today, obviously the hoteliers. Obviously, from a financial standpoint, something has to be done. Whether it's upgrades, improvements, new conference center, make it appropriate. That allows for growth, and efficient and obviously from a high use standpoint. Yes, sir. Multifunctional, et cetera. So, obviously the community needs to move forward, the area to solicit more business, conferences, et cetera. So, action has to be taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Any other audience members would like to speak before court get back to discussion? I would like to tell all y'all thank you for coming, showing your support, letting the Commissioners Court know what the people want. I'm pretty sure there'll be more canvassing later on. This was some of the group of people who have been helping me as I've been going around asking what they want, what do we want to do to try to see the needs of the county with a fit for this Civic Center. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. For sure.
So, Judge, it states here to hear an update on Commissioner Mills for his plan for remodel for the Civic Center as requested by the court in February. I know you have on here and consider replacing the Civic Center's leaking roof with ARPA funds. At this time, I would like to say we don't do anything with ARPA funds for that roof. And I would like to ask, the court if, if we can make a motion, because, I think we need some direction. If I can make this motion, if it dies for lack of a second, that's okay. But I think I need to make this motion. I think that we need to, after that, we need to come up with a plan. If the court has you and I together, me and you need to work together on this, get with the architects and get them in here and start looking on a plan together that will meet the needs of the constituents. We have the monies already. We went out and got all the monies. Everybody know all the stories where we did all this without going to the people. I think it's a broken record to keep going back to it, to keep driving that nail deeper and deeper and deeper in the board, and we're just hitting at it, but we have no progress. I think it's time for progress. So I would move that we remodel the Civic Center as originally planned into.
I don't think we can do that, that's not on the agenda. Just consider replacing the roof, that's it.
Yes, sir. So I move that.
No, what I'm saying, there's no action item.
Yes, sir. But you said
Replace the roof.
the leaking roof. So I want to move that we don't do anything with the.
With the leaking roof?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And come back to the court. Hold on, let me get back to where I had it. I move that for the remodel of the Civic Center, we don't do anything with the leaking roof, and we come back to the Commissioner's Court with, hold on, I've lost all my track right there. But I move that we don't do anything with the leaking roof, and we come back to the Commissioner's Court and come back with a plan that benefits the citizens and the taxpayers of Anderson County for a new conference center that will bring more additional sales tax and hotel occupancy income tax in our county as we need, and as we have the existing bonds, to utilize the existing bonds and our hot funds to complete this project.
I second that.
All right, we got a motion in a second, let me ask a question. Hot funds, at the end of the year, we'll have about 600,000. We got 5,933,000. It's in the COs, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So we just talked, you mentioned earlier that it may take $2 more million.
Well, I was saying if we originally stuck with that and just trimmed off the million from it.
I just want to ask the question.
Me personally.
Where's the money coming from? And we have, and see, this is the thing, we're talking about one issue, but there's other issues that may want to sit and talk about here or listen to, is we got a $2.3 million deficit budget. We got $2.3 million deficit budget, and we're talking about going and borrowing money or however we're gonna fund this. That's the thing that I'm looking at, the taxpayers, and I've been all around this county. And I've heard the comments, is we don't know what anybody's doing with our money, and nobody's telling us. I was prepared, and I told you, I was prepared to go to town hall meetings all over this county like we did for the jail and for this facility along with some other facilities when I was here before. I got no problem with going out there and having town hall meetings. I would suggest what we might do before we start proceeding with anything else or spending any other money is go out there and do some town hall meetings. I'll go with you. We can set them up all over this county. We did 7 when we built the jail.
But you had a plan to propose, and that's what he's talking about, going back with a brand new plan. It was Fitzgerald's Deliverance that delivered the $9 million plan, not the counties at their request. We actually told them that we had a budget, but they went over budget.
So in my.
Okay, let me ask a question. So who was it that told Fitzpatrick and Butler to add all this Taj Mahal stuff in there that you?
Nobody, and I was in on all of the meetings. They brought that plan back to us. They presented it on a table, and when I looked at them and they said $9 million, I slid it over to them and told them they had brought their Cadillac plans to a Volkswagen town, and that meeting was over. And why they didn't ever come back and fix that, I told them to take their composites out, take their chandeliers, take their clouds. Nobody ever told them to get that elaborate. So then at that point, it just died in the water at that point. I think though, you or any of us have to have a plan to present at a town hall meeting and find a plan that is more feasible within our budget, and it can be done. I don't know that Fitzgerald would be the one to go through because they've got big eyes evidently.
Well,
Or they don't know how to fit into our budget.
It died in the plan because of an election, but as I
the
stated
election
in my
hurt.
motion, it died in his plans because of an election.
Well, why does something die because of an election?
Well,
If it's the right thing to do, do it.
it died because of election, there was a runoff, everything else. But back to this,
Oh,
as I
okay.
stated in my motion,
Now
my
I
motion
understand.
was, what is there to understand, Judge?
Hey, if something is right, then I got no problem with supporting whether there's an election.
Nobody said that was you, but what we're saying is Judge Johnson, since you wanna go there, was over it and leading the project. With
If
the
he's the
assistance
one
of
you
the
told
commission.
me, was
With the
taking and
assistance
putting
of
all that
commission.
extra stuff in there. Nobody wants to say that.
Well, no, sir. He sat down with them and they planned all that. And what I just proposed was to use the COs that we already have along with
That's right.
the hot funds that we have sitting there. Nobody stated that when we initially sold, we made 500,000 right off from the sale because we did it in good time.
$563,000.
Thank you. So yeah, we spent 400,000, but that was extra money that wasn't even calculated. Well, you know the word I'm trying to say. The people do. It wasn't even accounted for. So my thing is today, it's too much tit-tatting back and forth. We need to get a plan of action.
That's right.
We don't need more offices. We don't need an election headquarter. We need a true convention center for the people. We can have all the town halls we want. They're still gonna come up and say the same thing because our county, our city, our people are suffering from not having a place to gather.
That's right. But
That's
we have
what
to
this
have a
boils to.
proposed plan. We have to have a number. We can't just say this is what we think and we don't know. We need to get a number together and decide what level, we need to come at them with as far as where it fits in within the budget. And the prices are gonna change a bunch from, when it was COVID and all this stuff till now.
Because it was super high.
But I mean, like I said, it's gotta have a plan put together with it.
So,
Well, I ran a football program for 30 years here, and we used the civic center out there probably at least 25 or 26 years for our award ceremony. I was out there for dances when Carol Bentley was doing that. My daughter was out there. I've been to graduations. I was on the school board. Every school district in this county pretty much has outgrown the civic center. It seated 1,150 people.
That's correct.
Something like that, okay? That's what the auditorium seated. I've had been at family reunions and everything else in the multipurpose room, okay? But you're still limited. This is it in a nutshell for me, okay? I came to this court and asked, and this is what I worried about, what we're dealing with right now. If you're gonna do something, have a good plan, figure out how you're gonna fund it, and then go to the people, explain it to them, and if people understand what you're doing with their money, they'll vote for it. We won the jail election 58%, and nobody in the state of Texas hardly during that period of time could get a bond election passed. And the way we did it is educate the public, let them know that we were spending their money, not in another county, housing our jail inmates in another county. We were gonna fix our own problems here and house our own inmates. So they passed it, okay? But I came to this court on October the 25th, and I addressed the court before I ever took office. And I asked them, please don't do the COs. Okay? Now, we're stuck with the COs. If you wanted to really do something and do it right, then make sure that you got parking, you got a huge facility, and then you take it to the voters with the plan. If it had been done like that, I wouldn't have a problem with it, because if the voters approved it, then I would have been fine with it. Okay? They didn't get that chance.
but we understand that, Judge, and you
Okay,
made that same
it-
problem.
It's almost like everything's centered because I'm asking to do things right.
No, sir, I think that you're
This-
trying to go in and make you said your largest meeting room you proposed on that January and that February meeting. I think one of them was 750, and then we had a little breakout that was in the 4-H office of 200, I think 150. Together, you just stated the original seating in the auditorium is 1,150 seats. You've been to graduations and everything there. Judge, we can't go back. there's no sense in investing $6 million into the existing facility, remodeling it to give us around the same amount of seating, actually a little less. Because if you combine 750 plus 200, we're not at 1,000, we're not at 1,150 on seats. We need a 3,000 seat capacity or more, or less. We can go 2,500 max. But, I mean, we're gonna have to have a true convention center that's for growth,
Okay.
future change in this
And
county.
I am not disagreeing with you on that one point, okay?
Yes, sir.
You can't go back and make more seats in the building that would only have certain seating limits. I'm 100% with you on that. I totally understand. The only thing is now we're locked. And how much money, we can't tear that facility down and build another, hold on, let me finish. We can't tear that building down according to bond council and build a new facility. I could live with that. We can't do it, is what our bond council is saying, we can't do that. So we're stuck with remodeling that facility, okay? So when we talked June the 20th, and people go back and look at the video, we were actually talking and having a good conversation when we were budgeting the ARPA funds about looking at maybe moving elections out there and putting some offices, but then get as much meeting space as we could out of the thing, okay? And that's exactly the plan that I came with, was what I was directed to. And I said, do y'all wanna put other funds or ARPA funds with what we already have in bonds? And the answer was, specifically by the whole court, is no, we feel like we can stay within the $5.9 million, okay? And that was exactly what was said. So I put the plan that what's strange is I've got a few people here that spoke that actually seen the plan and told me that it looked pretty good. The thing is, because I was trying to get as much meeting space, because I'm 100% with you. All these people that spoke, there isn't a place in this town to hold a meeting with 500 people. Would everybody agree with me on that? Okay.
You won't be able to have
wait just a second. I came with a plan with a meeting room with 480, the one right beside it, 220, another one for the extension office with 114, and another one for 175 when we weren't doing to do early voting. But when we weren't doing early voting, you had 175 seats in there to have a conference with breakouts, just like Mr. Patel said. You need to have a conference room with breakout sessions. That was the exact plan, because I did conferences all over the state of Texas when I was with the state. And so I've been to conference centers. Now, when I first took office, before I took office, I knew that we had this to deal with. I didn't know all the issues. But the other part of it I was looking at is why not go private? If one of our hotel owners wanted to build a hotel on that facility, and I didn't know that we couldn't sell it, is build a hotel with a conference center right there on that facility and work with them and let private dollars pay for it. Because I've been in a facility that was a huge hotel. They had a conference center. I talked to the people to see how they ran the thing. That would have been a plan. But I didn't know we were locked in. We can't build it. We can't sell it. I mean, the bond council said you can't sell it and give the money back.
Who brought you that idea, Judge? I brought you that idea. I come to you and I asked you, I said, Judge.
No, I came to you.
No, sir, I said we could do that conference center by getting a hotel to do
You
it,
were
and we could
worried.
sell it.
You were worried because the hotel owners found out that I talked to a hotel in Longview, Texas, and they were actually looking at, because I didn't know all these issues, they were actually looking at and did a little marketing study to see about buying that facility and putting a hotel with a conference center there. And you were concerned, and then I said, okay, well, I didn't know all these issues. I didn't know about the hotel and motel tax. So you and I, as soon as I took office.
I set up a meeting with all of them.
You sure did.
Because one of them was my buddies who had a Marriott flag. And I said he has a flag for a Marriott, which he's not here today. And he had voiced concerns with me about doing that. But what I said in my motion was, I like to ask the court to put this back on the agenda, and we come with a plan of action so we can get this ball rolling. In a nutshell, that's what I said. It had a second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second, so.
What were you gonna say, Commissioner?
I got one question. Did we purchase the Civic Center with bond money?
No.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
So why, is that a stipulation that it gets?
I don't think it is. That's why we
It's
gotta
not.
get some information.
But
It's not.
that's why Mr. Miller come here and explain to you,
And
so
we're
it's
gonna
not,
get that information.
it's not an interpretation of what somebody thinks they
Stipulation
heard.
of what? What did you say? What was the question though?
Since we didn't purchased the Civic Center with bond money, why can't we sell it?
Because it's under the IRS regulations or something. I specifically asked him if we could sell it, and he said, no. I gave all y'all that email.
He said it said in there, if it was purchased with the bond money, it was not purchased.
Well,
And I'm not saying.
but he explained to
sell it.
me
I'm
that
just
it was
saying
designated to it.
We need to look into all of our options, and I'm not saying sell it, that's not what I'm saying, but I like to hear, everything they have to say about it, to see what our options are.
And I have no problem with that.
Yeah, definitely. We need to get him
And
here
then
to get it done.
we do have the parking because we negotiated with the city when we bought it for $210,000 to give us the other 5 acres on the lower part. And we do have 4 county road and bridge departments here, with dump truck, dozers, backhoes, everything. We got dirt, rock, gravel. If we had to use our own help and effort with our own manpower that we're paying daily, employees to work to go out and build a parking lot to make this thing successful for the people, I think we could do that. Is that right, commissioners?
I'm sure. But that was the whole reason for that, negotiating that with the city, because it never met, the demand of what the parking was for the capacity of the building. So that was a concern that we had. But we're gonna have to get a plan together, deliver it to them, and get them a conference center built.
Yes, sir.
No meeting rooms, conference centers, that's my goal.
That's my goal too. No meeting rooms.
All right.
Okay, so.
Second,
We
you got
have
it?
a motion and a second.
To go forward.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? And I'll abstain for more information, so.
Thank you.
Thank y'all, each one of y'all, though. You very much, that was very right on for what y'all delivered. We appreciate it.
All right, item number 14 is consider and take action on precinct 1 taking the maintenance of Anderson County Road 1890 for 9/10 of a mile. Commissioner.
One from Mark Denner. On this 1890, it's an ACR road, it's in our system, it's on our maps. The county's not maintained that side for quite some years, before they did, but on the opposite side of the road, coming off of 287 side, we have a county road that we share with Houston County. It's called County Road 174, it's approximately 2 miles. So they chose then for Anderson County to take care of the 2 mile side, Houston County to take care of the 9/10. Well, they failed to do so, so I have everybody, if you look, see, all the way to the 57, 42, 41, all those, everybody that accesses that road where that bend is at the end of that yellow line, live in Anderson County. And if you look at the other road, there's as much of that stretch in Houston as in Anderson. It weaves back and forth. This one takes in just a little bit of the Houston County side to the gentleman that owns that 5742. That patch, he drives in, that's where his gate is. And I'm just wanting to, verify that the court have no problem with me taking the maintenance over on the ACR 1890. And at that point, it turns into Houston County 1709. So just to bring the court awareness of that, they have a problem with us doing it or not.
So this is just maintaining, not bringing it into our system?
Well, it's already, I think it's into
already-
our system.
okay.
Mhm. It's been on the maps for years at the ACR 1890, but they take care of that side, so. So it's on all of our maps on the walls, all of our book maps, everything is in the system, so it's just that they just agreed that they do it. Well, it's been 2 generations or 3 generations of commissioners, that this side is just horrible and our side is oil top. And they won't do anything about it, and they don't have money, that's what they say.
But you think it's already in our road system?
And I'll double check to make sure that it's
Okay.
in our system, for sure, but I mean, it's, like I said, I guess I'd have to go and just make sure it's on our inventory map. Okay. Well, that's it, there'll be no action taken in on that, and I'll just double check that to see.
Okay. I mean, if you feel like it's in our road system,
Well,
that's what you got documented.
I mean,
I don't have a problem.
what I had, it's in our, not just because it's in the book, that the gentleman wrote, but it's on all of our mapping on our walls and everything. I did not ask Denise whether if it's in my inventory, so I'm sure it might not be in my road inventory. If that's the case, I need to go out and ask Bob Bass about getting it in my inventory, if that's the case. you know, it has an existence of history because it's got an Anderson County number. You know, but I went back as far as Truman, and he was the last one, which would have been 32 years ago, of somebody that had history on the road, which that's what they say, if there's any existing history on the road, you know, in that ever existed, that it would be considered a county road. But,
I don't want somebody criticizing you maintaining the road and spending county money.
That's right.
We're not sure, so do you want to check?
Yes, I'll just check on it. I'll check with Bob to make sure, you know, just on that behalf, you know, and find out what would actually have to be done. And give him my information on, you know, that the road numbers are all in place, that the, you know, the recognizing of the history of the road and the whole bit that, but the way I understood it, it was when I went to the commissioner, he said, we've always had just a handshake agreement. We'll take care of this side, you take care of that side. And Truman said the same thing. He said that was the agreement. So we always took care of the west side, and they took care of the east side. But my east side people aren't getting treated very well. So they're having a lot of problems, a lot of washes, and it's 9/10 of a mile to the Anderson County line.
Is it under a different name besides 1890?
Nope, no man. Well,
Like
you
a-
might find
an
it in
actual
Houston
name?
County. No name. Houston
'Cause-
County's got it 1709.
Misty's looking it up on inventory and they're not finding it under 1890.
Okay, and then ACR 190 is what it is, so. And then the Anderson County line is actually, where you see it's all the way in Anderson County there. But I'll ask Bob Bass. We'll just table it and I'll find out.
Because it also needs to be on our inventory, not just
That's right.
that
That's why I
as
said,
well.
I don't know if it's been on y'all's inventory. I
Right.
did not check with Denise to see if it's on my inventory. So I'll do that and find out from Bob if there's any stipulation.
So you won't pass on that?
Yes, sir. We'll just pass on.
All right, so we'll pass on item number 14, more information. All right, item number 15, consider and take action on approving up to $200,000 purchase equipment from Ritchie Brothers Auction in Fort Worth. Commissioner Chase.
Yes, sir. We're gonna go on the 11th. They're gonna be on the 11th and 12th for Ritchie Brothers sale Fort Worth, and wanted to approve up to $200,000 using out of Precinct 1's ARPA money and, before the sale, so that when we get done, we don't have to hold a special meeting. And I don't know what we anticipate buying. We're gonna try to buy 2 tandem dump trucks and possibly a broom if we can.
Is this like out of your capital outlay in your budget?
No, sir, it's out of my ARPA money. My ARPA money's been quietly enhanced by some of my capital inlay, my capital money and my, monies for my general budget.
Okay.
So we charge it back, and I'm at about, $400,000 on that, so we're gonna use that to try to liquidate it down some.
This would be ARPA then?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll entertain, any other questions or concerns? I'll entertain a motion to approve, using up to $200,000 to purchase equipment from Ritchie Brothers Auction in Fort Worth.
Yeah, but I gotta go on the 11th and 12th. I'm sorry.
By Commissioner
It ends on the
Chapin,
14th.
Precinct 1. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Item number 16, consider to take action to remodel the restroom at Precinct 1 barn, in the amount of $6,250.
Yes, sir. I've had 2 bids. F&F, was about $860 higher, and the best bid I got was from the Super H. They're gonna remodel our bathroom. Our bathroom in that building is approximately a 4x6, and the sinks have fell off the walls are coming apart. That building was built probably 45 to 50 years ago, and, it's just old, so they're gonna extend the building and make it about an 8-foot by 6-foot, where it says remove and extend the walls. They're gonna add the urinal and a commode, having to raise the floor up about 10 inches because of the old existing plumbing. So we're gonna put new commodes, new urinal, new sinks, hand drying stuff and everything for it. They're gonna line the walls with the washable line, the vinyl liner, and then put something on the floor the same way. Change the lighting up, move the plugs, and then put an air conditioned vent in there for me. And the total was $6,250 is what that is. So I'd like to.
Does it have, 88 handrails around the toilet now?
No, sir.
Okay, that's gotta be put in there. If you're remodeling, it's gotta be brought up to code. so.
Okay, well, I've got another bathroom that's in my newer part of my office. I'll just put a handrail in that one, and that will, if I have a handicapped person show up, but each bathroom doesn't have to have it as far as, I'll designate that one for a handicap in case somebody comes in to see me.
Just at least one of them has to be.
I'll do that.
Is that gonna be like a unisex bathroom?
Yeah, it's just, I guess you'd call it that, yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanna make sure that the handrails are in there.
Yes, sir. We'll make sure. I'll put it in my other one as far as it goes. It's a,
I know you got, I think, men working in the precinct.
I have all
but
men.
You might have
Mhm.
somebody that comes, you might hire somebody else.
Mhm.
All right. But I just wanna make sure we're ADA compliant, that's all.
You're
Yes,
fine.
sir. Yes, sir.
No problem.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
And also, just for the record, I'm gonna pay for this out of my precinct budget because, there again, I mean, I don't, there's no sense in the permanent improvement paying for this one for us. We're good.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve remodel the restroom precinct one barn in the amount of $6,250 to come out of precinct one road and bridge fund by Super H Construction. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Not ARPA.
Motion by Commissioner
Not
Mims.
Okay.
Did we need to something else?
I mean, all I have to do is just move something over. I mean, if.
Well, I mean,
capital outlay or something.
there's capital outlay in ARPA, and there's plenty in there if you wanna use your,
Yeah, I can use
your
my
allotted
ARPA
amount,
for
it's
that.
whatever you
Yeah,
wanna do.
this-
I'll
move it
put
to
that in my
ARPA for
motion.
my ARPA.
I'll amend my motion where, so moved, but I like the funds, he would like for his funds to come out of, capital outlay out of his ARPA construction line item.
Okay. So not out of his budget, but out of the.
No, it's
No,
out,
it's
it's
out of his
out of my
His
budget.
allotted amount.
I'm just gonna restate it for Mark.
Yeah, it's out of my,
Out of his
yeah.
designated ARPA fund.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
for capital outlay.
precinct one
All right,
out of capital
so that's
outlay.
your motion there?
Yes, sir.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 17, consider and take action on the ARPA encumbered funds. Commissioner Jacob.
Okay, all I wanna do on that is these monies that we've encumbered for that, some of it, the projects we picked, you know, are not really listed on here. So, you know, there's a certain amount of monies that are left in there for it. And I guess what I would like to do today is to have the court recognize that any ARPA funds, the way we done with the fire departments, or, you know, any contracted, monies that we made go through Commissioner's Court, so that there is no access to ARPA funds on any project that does not get approval from Commissioner's Court. Because there has been some spent out of the ARPA funds because we dedicated to it with, you know, with the IT projects, different things that we've done.
No, the court approved that.
No, I understand some
Okay,
has
there,
been.
I mean, I'm pretty certain there's nothing that the court has the court has approved everything that's come out of ARPA.
Okay.
There's been nothing that came
Okay.
out of ARPA.
I mean, unless
That
it's
it has
something
to be
really.
pre-approved, that's all.
Yeah,
I understand.
everything
Well,
that
that's
we've
good.
spent on ARPA, the court has
Okay.
approved.
Well,
I
then
didn't
I
just
will-
decide,
No,
let's
I
use
didn't know
ARPA.
if
No.
because it was designated
no,
for, you know,
everything
any.
that was done in the encumbered, that
Even-
day in June or July, the court still had to come back and approve it.
Just like the road and bridge projects. and
Exactly,
everything. Yeah, I
yes.
just want everything to
Yes.
make sure that it comes back for
Yes.
pre-approved. That's all.
Yes,
Okay.
everything that has,
Thank you.
that we've paid on ARPA, the court has
Well, then
approved.
there's no action need to be taken. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I thought I said that to you last week when we spoke.
Yeah, I must have missed, I'm sorry. I just didn't understand it, but I think.
Okay, so we can pass on that one then.
Yes, sir.
Item number 18, discuss forming a community committee for the Expo Fairground project with no action taken. Commissioner Jacob.
Yeah, so there'll be no action taken on it. I just wanted to reach out to the court. I'd like to, if they could see or wanted to participate in it. I wanted to ask, you know, several of the, local communities, just from anybody from y'all's area and your precincts and all that you would want that opinion, you know, from, or just, so that we could sit down as a committee and meet. I know that never more than two of us could meet together with them unless we call the meeting, but where we could sit down on the feasibility side, the design side, the whole bit part of it, instead of the four of us, five of us, you know, sitting here making a decision on something that we would have to do. I'd rather make it a community effort. So I didn't want any action taken on it, just to maybe in the next couple of courts that we could recognize those people, members of our community, as a committee member, to be able to sit down and have some input into it. The final decision will all be made here on Commissioners Court as far as designating funds or anything, what we do for it or how it impacts the taxation of what we handle. But I think it's very important that, just like today, you know, with, you know, the presentation that Commissioner Mills put together, having somebody come here to put us in, you know, what we see or what they see, what they want to have. So that's what I'm asking the court today, to consider some names of people we could put on this committee.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
No action.
None at all. No, sir.
Item number 19, consider take action on changes to IT department.
Okay, on the IT department, it's gonna be another position that we've got that this court's responsible for. So what I'm asking the court to do is to look at IT as making the Commissioners Court the whole member and of the operations and all of the IT department on daily basis, to where we'll know anything from personnel issues, you know, from the hiring or, you know, dismissal of somebody, that we don't have to hear it secondhand, and any kind of expenses that we occur, anything would come through us. I think it's set up to where Mike's able to sign a PO up to like $5,000, which I have no problem with at that point, that he could do so. And if anything over and above that, that the Commissioners Court as a whole would have to make those decisions, to require 2 signatures from Commissioners Court. If the commissioners are not available, that they could verbally appoint somebody like Kathy to, you know, if she could contact them to make the signature for her. But I just think at this point or another, it's not been open, is what I'd like to see it, that this court would know what's going on with any decisions we make, purchase-wise or employment-wise, or the dismissal of employees or anything like that, and just to point it to that. So, and go ahead.
So, I'm kind of curious. I'm the elected official over the IT department, okay?
Now, you're where did you see that? Are you find me?
In
In
IT policy.
in our policy?
Yeah, it's just like the court put me over the Veterans Office. The court just recently put me over the Veterans Office.
That we took action on that today.
A good example that on a day-to-day basis, you have to make administrative decisions on a day-to-day basis that affect every elected office in this county, that affect the lawyers, it affects people filing deeds with the county clerk's office, that's your title company. When issues are happening, we have to work together on a daily basis to try to make sure we get things resolved. It's just like what we did. A good example is what we just did with the Sheriff's Department with GTX. And what I've done with, or working on with Tyler Technologies, with the IT department and elected officials in this county. Somebody had to make the phone call and talk to Tyler Technologies, and they finally are moving forward with some updates. We're still having some issues because Tyler Technologies in the computer department is taking, and they're doing a complete upgrade with all their systems to 2023. So we're having some issues that we're having to deal with, but I communicate on behalf of the county and all the elected officials and the IT department with some of them to make sure that we got, essentially nobody was taking the bull by the horns and say, look, this is not working. This has got to be upgraded. We've got to get our systems working. So we put a committee together. They actually responded to us. We've been doing group meetings with some of the elected officials. That's on a regular basis. But somebody had to initiate those communications, and that falls to the county.
Okay, so if we leave that on you, then let's say this, that we appointed you, the court did, over the Vernon's deal, the Veteran Services.
Veterans Office.
Yes, at the Veterans Office, that you've been appointed over. We just hired a man the other day, and I thought that was handled very well. We brought it to the court. We actually did the interviews. We decided as a court as a whole. But that doesn't happen in our IT department. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'd like to see change, that we have that opportunity to be able to sit down and decide the next full-time, which we did not have. So I'd like to have that next, or when somebody leaves us, which is a big player in our deal, that we don't find out from our neighbor, you know, that somebody left out on us. Or buy $100,000 servers that we went back and forth over, but we passed it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. You tell me what it takes to
IT
stop that.
department is just like any of the other departments. I don't expect the county clerk or the sheriff to call me and say, we just appointed somebody or we just hired somebody. The thing is, it's gotta run on a day-to-day basis. I rely on the director over there.
That's right.
Okay, they interviewed these individuals that are working in there. We had 2 people back and asked for a third person. The court gave us a third person. We got part-time money. We had 4 people working over there and everything, there's been no disruption or no interruption in service. Right now, we're in a better place as a county than we were when I walked in the door January the 1st. Because right now, we've got actually all of our data stored in 2 places. I'm not gonna get into it a whole lot because of security. We have a disaster recovery program right now that is in place and working that backs up even the sheriff's data, which before that wasn't happening. So it's backing up everything. It's encrypted. Nobody has access to it. Our data is protected right now today better than it was a year and 4 months ago. So the IT department has not had disruptions in service. If there was people that wasn't getting served, if people weren't responding to phone calls and trying to get their services back up and running and they were being ignored, then number one, I'd take care of it. But the thing is and essentially you say, but Tex resigned, okay? And he took another job.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, number one, I can't send out an email that, somebody resigned, because that violates the Open Meetings Act. That's one. And the other thing is, he wanted to quietly leave and just go to his other job, so that we honored that. The thing is we had Mike and Tex we got one guy that's a veteran back there, served in, I think, 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan. He was in his IT unit. He was IT in his unit with other members. And he's been trained by Mike and Tex to take over the network and to step right in. And that's exactly what he did. I promoted him to the assistant IT director. That was the open position. I took the part-time person who we hired, who, when we went out for the IT department for the third person, he was the next man in line. The only thing is he didn't have the hands-on like Josh did. So what we did is we put him in the part-time position. He's been learning our network. He's been putting up in computers and setting up computers in offices. He did 4 or 5 this week, or this past week. We're updating everybody's computers. He stepped right in, moved into the full-time position. Now we have a part-time position that's open, but at this time, we're gonna focus on what we gotta do with these 2 people and let Mike take care of the new programs that's working. You saw just what happened with GTX. When you get the right people working together in our IT
Yeah,
staff.
I have no problem with that. Judge.
Okay, all right.
But I mean, it's just like with the
You can't micromanage this department.
okay.
Judge,
well,
can I interject?
Yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner, you're wanting any hiring and firing to come before the court, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So.
It's
I
part
mean,
of just knowing, I mean.
But the day-to-day will
That's
still
right.
lie with the judge.
That's right. That's right.
Well, then.
Well,
then
look, let me just say it like
Make a
this.
motion for that, because I don't know if at some
Yeah,
point that
let's leave it alone
changed
then.
and.
Let me ask you this, though. Whenever you was over the Veteran Services, I don't know why you asked our opinion of, if you think, or we interviewed the person. What you just explained to us would have probably never gotten in the way of hiring this new guy. I would just like to know, I would like to have that introduction, us sitting here to decide that is the next man as a whole, or if we wanted to reach out. As far as saying somebody quit or what, you could just say, we have a position vacant, there's an absent there. That's what I'd like to correct. You tell me what it takes to fix that. Or if we make a decision to purchase or buy or spend money out of our ID department, that same as Road and Bridge does, when we decide to buy a truck, we come here. When we decide to buy servers, I would like it to come here. you know, to be able to, let's talk about it, whatever it is, not on the daily because I know you got him set up for a $5,000 deal, and I'm fine with that. But anything over and above, I would like to see it come here. If there's an emergency, call one of us, we can do it. But what does it take to fix that?
See, this is the thing. What the court doesn't understand, number one, I rely a whole lot on Mike, okay, for the information that he's given me to make decisions on purchase. We have a budget just like Road and Bridge. Kenneth had a culvert washed out on 359. I don't expect him to come to the court. He's got to fix the culvert, and he's got to get it up and running. He has a budget, you have a budget.
That's right.
The elected officials don't have to come to this court once they have a budget. We have an IT budget. He has to take and update licenses. He has to update different, just like the storage, we have to do that. We have a budget that was presented to the court and approved by this court to go out and do the things he needs to do on a day-to-day basis. He gets them. He comes to me just like any elected official and says, okay, and I approve it. Okay? We're operating this department just like Road and Bridge. I wouldn't expect you, if somebody, your foreman resigned tomorrow and you need to promote somebody, I expect that you know who that needs to be. It's the same thing in this department. It's the same thing.
That's exactly right. But the IT department falls under Commissioner's Court. That's exactly what it says. The Commissioner's Court is responsible for IT. It says it in all the documentation, council sent it to me. So we are responsible for it. You was not elected into Road and Bridge. We were. And we don't do, you know, same with Mark. I don't get into his stuff. So I would like to say, you know, on the daily operations of major purchases or any kind of employment issue, personnel issues that we have, that it would come before Commissioner's Court, the same as we do with the Veteran Services or any other offices that the Commissioner's Court oversees. As it says, there's various departments or budgets positioned under the authority of Commissioner's Court. Commissioner's Court can delegate, you know, the authorization of any court member to it, any one or more to it. So I leave it just like it is, but I don't know how to fix the part that we get reports knowing what it is. We asked for that before, and we started getting monthly reports that are not so, you know, understand.
Well, I understand where you come from, Mr. because I feel like the court is kept in the dark sometime about some of the things going on there. And it's one of those deals that falls under Commissioner's Court, and the court at some point in time appointed the county judge to be over that office. But I was confused too several weeks ago when an employee left, and I heard about it through someone else and I didn't even know. I just wish the court had communication on what's going on there as to what's happening in our IT department when it falls directly under Commissioner's Court's responsible for it. So I don't know the answer to it. Like I say, I have no problem with Judge McKinney being over the day-to-day operations, but yes, I would like to be informed more when employment changes or certain amounts of money out of that budget are being spent, because it is an IT budget, I understand that. But it's kind of a different deal because it's all, the court is responsible for it.
So that's like what's the average price of a server, Mike? You don't have to be exact, just give us roundabouts. But I mean, because they vary, they're going from a range, right?
Well, but with servers, we have are virtual servers. And so right now, currently, we're running off of 3 servers. And that supplies all the 44 virtual servers that I need for all of the normal everyday operations. Now, those 3 servers are not your normal,
but when you purchase one of those,
if you were to purchase a $6,000 server or whatever, you would have to have 44 of that $6,000 servers. I don't do that because, again, it doesn't make sense when you can virtualize it and spend a whole heck of a lot less.
But the one that you were referring to and what I think Commissioner's referring to here, that he's seen in expenditures, how much was that server?
Are you talking that was in when we originally took and bought those 3 new ones? I think it was around
30-something thousand.
38, I believe, $38,000 for those 3.
I think,
and the core.
Was that in your budget?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, it was.
So your budget was broken down and it was presented to the court with budget team on all the things that you foresaw that we're gonna need or potentially will need throughout the year, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so all we're doing is suspending the budget that this court has already approved.
That's right.
Just like we do for every other elected position in every other department. So we're not spending something that hadn't been allotted. And that's where when the Commissioners Court sets the budget, then it's up to the elected officials to make sure that they stay within their budgets and spend the budgets. That's the only thing that's exactly what I've done with working with the IT department. So nothing that we're doing, it is not something that hasn't already been approved by the court.
Yeah, it's been approved by the court, and we're not, arguing that part, but just like I come here to tell the court and ask the court basically to let them know that I'm gonna do a $200,000 expenditure, just the possibility of it, or Rashad decides that he's gonna buy something, we bring it to it. We're just asking to be more transparent on what's got going on with that budget, because we are responsible for that budget. The same is, we surrendered it to you, but at this point, we're still responsible for it, trusting that he's gonna do it. So today, I want he to be able to come back and take all the e's, i's, and my's out of it and make it us, the Commissioners Court, to know when you have any large expenditure, I think as a Commissioners Court, I don't know how the rest of them will feel, would like to be notified knowing what we're gonna expend, the same as we do. We do things that it's out of character probably, because our budget's already been approved, and we can just go buy the truck. The legislation sets a $50,000 cap on us, that's it. So unless we go through other, bidders, buyers, auctioneers, or buy board, or different things like that, but we still take the consideration of the court as a whole, and we still present it. So that's what I'm asking today, that the IT department, however it needs to be worded, that if there's gonna be a major something in that, or purchase or personnel, that it comes to Commissioners Court. And your daily basis, your daily operations can just continue on if there's something big coming. Because we bought the $100,000 some odd dollars worth of stuff, and I found it in the bills. I don't wanna find it in the bills, I wanna know it's coming.
So which one what are you?
I don't know, whenever we did it, I'd have to go back and redo that, and you said y'all have already got them, and it was a problem. Am I anywhere, does anybody remember that?
That was.
Those blade servers or servers or some kind of servers, I don't know if they're blade servers.
That would have been it would have had to have been either the storage or the blades that we originally purchased.
It was something like that.
But I'm not sure.
And you already had them.
I'd have to go back to them for numbers.
But those are items that were
budgeted,
identified in our budget. I understand what you're saying, but to me, it's micromanaging the department. And you can't keep coming back to court when things are happening that he needs to take care of, and it needs to be taken care of immediately to make sure we stay up and running. There's critical things that happen in that department that he needs to be able to address immediately. It doesn't need to be put 2 weeks off.
So you have problems that happen overnight that you have to spend $100,000.
I don't know I would have to know more about what that $100,000 is to answer your question.
That's what we're wanting to know. We just don't feel like, we know you have the money. We budget money. We trust you're gonna buy what you need. I don't see what the problem of I don't see the big emergency, you'd have to buy a $100,000 piece of equipment overnight. It can be brought to the court's attention. What is being bought for IT? Just to the courtesy of the court, as far as who's not necessarily hiring and firing, but when someone resigns from the IT department, I think that's pretty potent information that the court members would like to know, that a member has resigned his position. And that's what we just feel, or I feel, that I'm kept in the dark on some of the things happening there. And I don't see the problem with if something's going to be purchased through the deal, why it can't be discussed in court or brought to the court that this is what's going to be purchased. I don't understand the issue there. Like I say, it's not, Judge, you wasn't elected to IT, you was elected to county judge, and we don't micromanage your judge or anything you do in that office, but you was appointed to be over this, and we trust that you're over it, but we still like to have more information about what goes on.
Mike can include some of that stuff in his reports, on his monthly reports.
Well, and I
I've
got
asked him
the,
to do certain, I've asked him to add certain things as we went along. Because when I got here, there was no IT report being done.
No,
Would you agree
we
with that?
asked.
That's right.
No, we
But
asked
that,
for
the
it.
report's great, but it's after the fact. That's what we're trying to say. We'd like to know if you got something coming up, to bring it to Commissioner's Court. If there's time, if it's an emergency, I think the court would have to agree. I mean, it's something we have to do at that point. But, I mean, like I said, it's just not, there's not enough information out there for me. Yeah, I'd like to know what's going on. So maybe there's nothing to fix on it today to see how it goes, if we could improve that by a little bit. I
Can
will
we-
gladly
can we
table
add
that.
Can we try adding that to the report?
That's fine. But
that all right?
there again, any major expenditures or, personnel issues, I would have loved to listen to your version of these new guys taking this choice, because there again, they're gonna be running a department that we're all in charge of. And yeah, I think you could have sold me on it the same as you did Judge or anybody else on it, and I trust you. That's why I feel like that you're in the position you're in.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
Will
go
you
ahead.
describe, tell them?
No,
what
I
you're
will, I will say that, Josh and Edson, out of the people that we went through the interview process, there was, one specific, task that we had tried with both of them, and they were the only two people to pass that task. And there should have been no reason why they shouldn't have been able to do it. It's almost like it was like if you guys were to hire somebody that didn't know how to drive a Bobcat or go ahead and drive a skid steer. I mean, come on, those are kind of stuff that you guys normally would do. But these guys actually knew how it was going to happen. Even though Edson's new, he's picking things up. He got, believe it or not, I was highly impressed. Last week he got 4 computers turned around and a printer. And I was like, my goal is to get at least 12 computers out per month, at least, because we've got a lot of computers to go through, because we're looking at close on 210 computers right now.
Well, Mike, I don't think you're gonna hear a complaint from this court about what you do and what you've done for the county. We appreciate it.
Very much.
We would like to just be made more aware of some of the things happening. And I guess the issue that bothered me most is that we had employee leave, and I was not aware of that. And I just thought, as a court member who is over IT in the large scheme of things, that we didn't know that, or I didn't know that. So, but as far as what you do on a day-to-day basis, I think you do a great job.
I appreciate
I
it.
will add more into that in the
Let me
report.
ask one question so the court understands this. At the end of the year, and you got some budget, and I think you did that before I came in office in 22, at the end of the budget year.
To buy more computers.
When you bought a big bulk computers, you remember approximately how much that was? Just ballpark.
I want to say it was like, I would say it was probably close on 30,000.
So, in other words, he took the initiative to buy computers to take care of all the ones that he would be replacing while he still had the budget.
Yeah.
To save his next year.
For the next year.
Like we all do, if you
That's
say
right.
you need something, at the end of the year, you try to purchase it. So that's a $30,000 purchase. I'm just using that as an example. He made that decision on his own.
That's right. But that makes perfect sense, and I think you could have brought that to the court and said, hey, there's 30,000 surplus budget. We'd like to buy, these, and I don't think the court had no problem with that at all.
So I have a question for my office. Instead of, Mike does come and ask for a PO for computers, like, do you have a number? Is it over 5,000 that?
You can leave it just like it is right now and let the judge continue to sign for it, whatever it is. And just, he knows basically our wants and desires is to have a little more connection.
Okay.
Be able to come and talk to you or whatever we got, to where if you got something going on that's gonna be major, I'd like for us to have the opportunity, especially in purchasing and, personnel, same way. I'd like to hear your side of it, to know who we're getting.
We can put some more stuff in the report.
Okay.
We've added stuff as we went along that we saw that y'all needed to know about. We can continue to do that.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Well, and another thing, just so that you guys are made aware, I got with the disaster recovery people, and we are going to start doing another test on because they've got everything backed up now to the cloud. So we're going to do another test on bringing like couple of servers live on the cloud. So we're moving forward on that part. So it's good. Anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so there will be no action taken on that.
All right, item number 20, consider and take action to declare equipment for precinct 2 road and bridge department surplus to sell at auction. Mr. Mills.
Yes, sir. I have a list here to submit, and the surplus equipment for precinct 2 will be a Ford F-150, last 6 of the VIN, would be a A28109. I have a Cat steel wheel roller, and the last 6 of that VIN will be a A00442. I have a Mack truck, which that is a dump truck, and the last 6 of the VIN will be it'd be 008637. I have a Bomag, serial number 85560. And I have an old International truck. It also going to sell. It's a single axle dump truck. And its last 6 is 344669.
What was the first item?
Yes, sir.
Never mind. No, you have a list.
Yeah, do you have a copy of Megan?
It's fine. I'll get a copy from Mark.
I got it with Miss Kathy and all that, yes.
Okay.
Mark has that one.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve declaring the equipment identified by Commissioner Mims for the minutes is precinct 2 road and bridge surplus to sell at auction. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 21 is consider to take action to use the Anderson County Agri-Life Extension Office parking lot for Commissioner Mims' first annual car show. Commissioner Mims.
Yes, sir. We're going to have a festival downtown. It's the Juneteenth Festival, and we're going to do it on June the 15th. I'm a member of Community Impact, as Ernie Williams spoke on here earlier. It's a group of us leaders throughout the community, and we try to impact and give back to the community and host various things in our local school district, in our local communities, and just try to have a big brother, big sister organization. But this year we're specializing on Juneteenth holiday celebration, and I'm going to bring Commissioner Mills' first annual car show downtown. So what we're having is a festival downtown. We've got with the Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber of Commerce is we got a parade route that's going to come through at 7:30 p.m. It's going to be a night parade. It's going to start at the courthouse, come down, hit the main road, go back up, and go back to the annex. We're going to try to have a surprise at the end because this is Juneteenth. This is Independence Day for the African Americans when it was commemorated in Galveston. So we're recognizing that, and we're going to have a turnip green contest, cook-off, not turnip green, but collard green cook-off. We got Joe Collards, who's coming out of Mahia, Texas, some of the best collard greens in the United States. He goes all over talking about them. A history tent, and originally the car show was going to be on Miss Jean Mallard's parking lot, but the parking lot may be too small, so we were looking for a bigger parking lot to host the car show, and the Agri-Life building came to mind. So we like to use the whole concrete area and the asphalted area up to the wooden fence. And we will be setting up tents for the car show area. We have 2 tents from 10x20s from Red Hat, and there will be bounce houses and everything around the car show.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Anderson County Agri-Life Extension Office parking lot for Commissioner Mims' first annual car show. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 22, consider to take action to use the main floor of the Agri-Life Extension Office for a history event. Commissioner Mims.
Yes, sir. So during that time, we're going to have, we originally started out with a history tent. Then the people with this is the historic. The old people used to have a restaurant right beside it. Angela from the chamber had talked with them, and we were gonna try to get in that building and host the, history tent on the inside. Because it's pictures, it's paintings, it's old, doctor medical certificates of people like Dr. McClellan. There's some stuff from our old ag extension, Mr. Frank Robinson, information on Timothy Smith with the marker there. And as we went through and we collected all the stuff that we got from Ms. June McCoy and everybody that was at our museum that closed down, they figured this documents and paperwork, and even though some of it's laminated, some of it's in frames, didn't need to be out in the weather and the heat up under a big tent that we were gonna get from Red Hat. So we were gonna use the restaurant right beside the old Denby's, and then it was this last Italian restaurant. But since then, the roof has started falling in there. It needs some repairs in there because they have a leak. And we were looking for another building downtown with suit where they could put the stuff on the inside. And I figured we had the 4-H building, and I know that we host cattle association events and all that. So what I just want to do is ask the court if they will authorize us to place those items in there. Ms. Lillian Holly, my wife, and myself, and Mr. Williams Oral, the history tent, we will make sure, since the car show will be on the outside, people will be walking in, looking at all the memorabilia from the black settlements, established black businesses. We have a lot from the McKnight Plaza. That was the one plaza here. That was the one building downtown where all the black businesses, if you had a black shoe shop, barber shop, grocery store, pharmacy, doctor's office, you had to go downtown. We could only go to one place, and that was the building, the McKnight Plaza. So we want to keep that memorabilia and everything nice, and if it's okay with the court, if they would allow us to use it during that time, we'll place it in there. I'll personally be over it, pulling it out, making sure nothing happens, and we'll stay on that floor.
So you're coordinating with Truman?
Yeah, I'm gonna coordinate with him on everything, yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, we got a state rep in there, we got.
Yes, sir.
Jenna's desk is out there to open. I don't know about the other offices about being like, I'm talking about with the public coming through.
Yes, we're just gonna place around everything and hopefully ask them to lock everything up.
They can lock all their offices.
Yes, sir.
I don't have a problem with it, I
Yes,
just
sir.
wanna make sure that we can.
I'll personally go. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, and I'll talk to Mr. Truman on everything. I know, I've talked to Commissioner Chapin, because I didn't want to talk to any other court members, and I know that he said he'll be at liberty to help with anything he needed to also.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve, using the main, Commissioner Mims using the main floor of the AgriLife Extension Office for, history event.
And I might add, our historical commission, president, Mr. Franklin, is also helping with information and getting it, so he'll be there on hand too, if he stays the whole time for the event or not.
Okay.
And he's our constable, Franklin.
So you have law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. On, item number 23, consider to take action to declare equipment surplus from Precinct 3 Road and Bridge Department, sale at auction.
Yes, sir, I have several pieces. I have a Caterpillar 420 F backhoe loader, serial number SKR 02280. I'd like to surplus that piece of equipment. I have a 544B John Deere rubber towered loader, serial number 359449T. I'd like to place that item surplus. I have a New Holland TS100 four-wheel drive tractor. It has a Diamond Boomax mower on it, and the serial number on the tractor is 138662B. The serial number on the Boomax is 2422. The two items are combined together. They're one unit, but we have them listed separately on our inventory. I'd like to place them two items on surplus. I have a 2003 T-Rex vibratory drum dual roller, serial number E307CC170. I'd like to place that on the surplus list. And let's see, I got one more item. I have a 89 GMC 12-yard dump truck. serial number 4V2ACBME5KN614591. I'd like to place that item on, all these items on surplus to be sold at the next auction.
And you're submitting a list to the clerk.
Yeah, I don't have the list, or I'll have it printed up before you leave.
Is the one you're reading from, is that gonna be the list?
Yes.
Cause do you have enclosure?
No, I just did it off my inventory, cause I
Oh, you
couldn't
did?
read.
Okay, all
No, I
right.
couldn't read my list.
Is this your?
No, that's, yes, there it is.
Yes, I
This
couldn't
it?
read it, yeah. Where they blacked it out when they
I
highlighted.
think it was highlighted,
So I'm
yeah.
gonna
Okay,
have to get it redone, cause that was the list, but it's unreadable.
okay, all right, okay.
I'll get you one.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion that, to approve, Commissioner Dixon's, list of declared equipment surplus for Precinct 3 Road and Bridge to sell at auction that he just, put in the record. And we'll submit a list to the county clerk. Is there a motion?
So,
Motion by Commissioner Mims, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin, all in favor say aye. All opposed? So ordered. Item number 24 is consider take action to declare a vehicle surplus from Precinct 4, Road and Bridge Department to sell at auction.
Yes, sir. This is actually a truck that is under the Dogwood Parks inventory. It's a 2006 Chevrolet 1500 four-wheel drive pickup. Last six of the VIN are 121501. It's an older truck. Was pretty much wore out when we got it, and it's really wore out now. So instead of putting good money in a bad problem, I'd soon get rid of it. We'll try to find a good used truck to replace it with.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve declaring the vehicle, described by Commissioner Hill as surplus for Precinct Road and Bridge to sell at auction. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. While we're on that, let me ask a question. The shop told me that white Dodge, we need to consider replacing for maintenance, the James and Val Drive.
Oh,
The one I gave him.
Yeah. While we're talking about it, when's the auction gonna be?
Well, we're gonna have another one. This
you'll
one
have
is
When
time
they
to put it
decide.
on the
There's
next.
actually
If you
two-
wanna
What I
declare,
wanted to see if
We'll have
maybe
till
we
about
get
July.
them another truck.
and then,
Since I think we're gonna have some in capital outlay, we might could do that.
and
I
then
need to put
declare
it
it
on a future
surplus.
agenda, but are y'all okay with me putting that on an agenda?
To sell it.
To sell that one at auction, since we got one coming up, and to try to consider buying one for maintenance to replace it.
Yeah, that's,
Is that okay?
yeah,
All right.
that's good.
All right, I just wanted to ask since we were on that topic. Okay. Item number 25, consider take action on authorizing the county judge to sign the engagement letter for Taylor Brown and Hill LLP for the annual county audit. Megan?
The engagement letter, is in your packet. They actually started the audit last Monday, so, approve the judge to sign it.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'm
So
sorry?
moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Item number 26, consider and take action on the unclaimed capital credits allocation is authorized by section 74.602 of the Texas Property Code. Megan,
I'm sorry.
We're on this,
The unclaimed property.
creditors.
Yes, the comptroller sends this every year to us, for the judge to sign to receive the capital credits that can be used for specific, things that are listed on your enclosure.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the, county judge to sign the agreement on the unclaimed capital credits allocation is authorized by section 74.602 of the Texas Property Code. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 27, discuss take action on security at the Anderson County Courthouse. Sheriff Flores.
Got a few things I wanted to talk about today. First on them was, back in October, I believe it was on the 30th. Last year, we had Commissioners Court meeting. We were talking about the proposed security door that had been requested by the district court judges for the first floor, the large district courtroom there. And there was a notification that needed to be made to the Texas Historic Commission, requires a 180-day delay on any proposal like that, so that anyone can bring any objections or concerns forward, and that the county can coordinate with them to find an equitable resolution. We didn't find an equitable resolution, but it's been over 180 days now, and we are permitted to go forward on that, and that's what I'd like to do. It's permission from the court to vote that I go back to the vendors we had talked to at the first time, get them to update their quotes about putting in the requested door and wall similar to the other half of the hallway across the foyer there, and create a more secure environment for our district court.
I was wondering when I saw that if we were past the 180 days.
Well, about 190 almost.
Okay,
So,
okay. All right. You're just gonna go back to the same ones that quoted it? 'Cause I think the court approved the quote, and then we found out we couldn't do it right away.
yes, and I think if we go back and look at the quotes were probably good for either 14 or 30 days. That's very, very common in the construction business as prices vary. Would get them to update the quotes, make sure that we include the width of that doorway to meet ADA, wheelchair, if we have to take a gurney through there for EMS or something of that nature.
I think there was a latch issue too on that one inside. You wanted to be able to just push it open.
Yes, yes. When the door comes open, it would lock against the wall for an emergency, but be an easy release so that we could, it's all in the issue of security, in the sense of security.
Yes.
All right. Second thing was, in that discussion on that, I became aware through emails with the Historic Commission and some information provided by Judge McKinney that there's a lock that they have pre-approved that can go on existing office doors or public access doors or common area doors. And I want approval to go through the courthouse and install locks similar to that. It's a keyless electronic lock, wireless. In other words, it runs off a battery system. We have numerous there in different places. But some of the more common areas that are now being used as jury rooms, defendant rooms, or if we need extra space for witnesses to isolate a witness in a trial so that they don't have to be standing in the hallway where the defendant comes out with the lawyers. It would have a common code that we would use, and we would identify all of those rooms that we want to put them in, come back with a list, and get your final approval, but I want permission to go forward on that. Individually, they run about $120 a piece. We might get a discount if we bought multiple, who knows? But obviously, we'll have the issue of installation to deal with a locksmith.
Maintenance do that.
One of the things I was gonna ask, sometimes if that battery dies, at 9 volts, they last about a year. But one of the things, if we were to get them from Lowe's, they can key them all for the regular key. They can key them all out.
Yes, sir.
So that might be a consideration. But I just asked that maintenance have some kind of code to be able to get in there and maintain the jury rooms and the offices.
Well, those are going to be
maintenance or emergencies, you know, if we've got some kind of water leak in one of them or something.
Those are going to be the common areas, not to your private office or anything like that, where there's already a secure door. I'm not asking for that to be common door areas where maintenance would have access to it, as well as all the bailiffs, or if I sign somebody from the sheriff's office that doesn't have a set of bailiff keys, I don't have to scramble to find a set of keys. I just got to give him a list of the common codes for the courthouse for the shared areas.
I've got no problem going forward on both of them.
All right.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the sheriff going forward on the common areas of putting the locks on. And, but we'll have to still have a quote for that.
Oh, yes, yeah, yes.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. What are we gonna do? Where are we gonna take the money out of? Courthouse?
Courthouse security?
There's, some money you put in, contingency there, I believe.
There is other and, capital outlay budgeted in courthouse.
But we do still have money
Yes.
in the courthouse ARPA too, if we need it. But you just have to figure out how much we need, how many of it.
I'll come to you with a quote, numbers, location, and amounts. Same as
Because you're
with,
gonna have to rebid the door and then bring that back.
yeah, same with, as with the door on the security for the district courtroom. Additional thing I had was security cameras here at the courthouse annex. I'd like to institute a system as we have over at the courthouse, the historical courthouse, with a new Verkada system where it centralizes and controls who has access to download or copy any information. It has to be done by IT, but it has to be approved by the sheriff or one of my designees that be done. That way, it's just checks and balances and centralized control for security issues.
So I'm not quite sure
what does that consist of?
Well, what's
Access, or we talking about?
Well-
We're talking about adding new cameras.
No. There's a video camera system or surveillance camera system in the Anderson County Courthouse Annex.
Yes.
The way it works at the courthouse right now is, I'll give you an example. Kathy Luker thought someone was in violation of a protective order or bond conditions that would constitute a criminal offense. She needed some video evidence of that. She emails the IT department telling them the parameters of the days that she wanted to check, and they ask if there is permission to download that for her, and because the sheriff has control of the security of the courthouses. And I said, absolutely. So they make that, it's done, but it's a very limited access, and it has to be approved on those times.
And this one's not on it, so that's what you're trying to get this one on.
Oh, yeah, that was a separate system because that one was old and antiquated and had reached the end of its service life. But these two systems are not tied in together, but the procedures should be essentially the same.
Can we just kind of get with IT? Can I get with Mike and see what we can do?
There's no emergency to it, I would just,
Accommodate you
yeah.
and see what we're gonna need to do there.
There's no emergency, I would just like to have a system that's similar for both courthouses and the control checks and balances.
And I knew about the request that Kathy gave, so.
Yes.
Mike and I talked about it, and I think he got it done for you, so. Okay. All right.
And lastly is, again, with the sheriff having charge and control of the courthouses, I don't have access to or control of the keypad or key cards that are issued over here at the annex building for the common areas of the front doors or any of the exterior doors. I'm asking for transfer of that to the sheriff's office.
Is there more than one in the county? Is there other keypads here?
We put some in on a grant in the sheriff's office, and we administer that for my office. But specific to the courthouses, obviously in the historical courthouses, no, there's not a common key card used over there. There's some very individual offices, like the State District Court Judge's office has a keypad on it. The bail bond clerk's office has a keypad on it. Those are already approved.
Yeah, like the one on the front doors or the.
Yes. That's
And
that's
where is that located now?
Okay.
That's in
Lisa issues those, because they have to turn them back in to her if somebody leaves. They've got to turn them in. Originally, when we built the building, it was emergency management to maintain it, because they had, through the security system, some of that's computerized, so they have to go in and designate that key card to be able to use the pads outside. So that's a little different issue. That's gonna be, Lisa does all that for everybody over here. So they have to turn it in, but it's a computerized program. So if we have a new employee, then working to make sure that they got their keypad, the key, and then the other thing is if somebody's leaving, we gotta make sure and acquire that. And any keys that they might have, so.
Cut it off.
That kind of presents a little different situation there, but.
It's a computer program,
I
yes,
mean,
sir.
if like, if you need somebody, one of your deputies or bailiffs need an access key, then all she's gotta do is issue one.
Yes, sir, but that's kind of like going to my neighbor to get a key to my house. Because the sheriff's supposed to be in charge of security at the courthouses.
I understand that, but the access for somebody that's going to work in this building, it makes sense that she's got it right there at her office to immediately where they're not having to go to the sheriff's department to get it, so.
But the entry of the building is a security issue.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct?
Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't have a list of who's got access or sharing that with them, but just the main focus is trying to make sure that people go to work and get in and not have to go to another agency. But, I mean, we can share that.
They would still be issued a card.
Correct, with your knowledge. So,
My request was to be in charge of it, but the request is before you. That's the four things that I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
all right, so, all right, moving on the keyless entry for the common areas of the courthouse. And then for, proceeding with the, security door for the district courtroom. And then working with that, I guess on that one, we need to take that up separate. Just to, on the keyless entry, at the courthouse for the common areas, like the jury rooms and stuff, that, to give the, sheriff access, to make sure, or his deputies access, whoever he assigns, then, I'd entertain a motion of, approve going forward with that project along with the security door with the district court.
I'll put that in form of motion.
Okay. So that's a motion by Commissioner Mims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor, say aye on that.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. On the, working on the video camera, I need to get with Mike, and I'd like for us to kind of get some more information before we make a decision on that. Is that all right with the court? I'd like to pass on that one, just, and, also I need to probably talk to Lisa and talk to Mike on how that system over here works and what we can work out on the keyless entries for all the employees. So,
Just put it on a later agenda.
Well, we can pass it or not to either send it over there and give him time to work on it, seeing what it takes.
well, I mean, if we issue it, we can give him a list of everybody that has access.
As far as where you
So
see
there's not, I'm talking about on the
system or the keys?
on getting in this building, because, you've got different doors that have different accesses. In other words, some employees can come in that door out in the front. They may not can come in any of these other doors or have access to these other rooms. So there are different levels of access for this building.
What he's saying is that any access to it, he's in charge of, is what he's trying to say. So if you need access or a key, then you could go to him to get one for them. That's what he's trying to say now.
I think
For
that's
that,
what he's saying.
not to
'cause-
have the ability to give it out here. Is that correct, Sheriff?
Yeah, could you give us some clarification?
Well, essentially, that's what he's saying is,
That's clear. Just like in our office now, we have classes that we can, or groups that you can identify and issue. If we had a vendor working on something in a certain hallway, we could give them a temporary card activated for the 3 days they're there, deactivated the minute that the 3 days is up. Same thing as the judge brought up, that if someone leaves, the minute that we know they're leaving, we can deactivate their card.
Okay.
Our new
For
hire,
security,
comes in.
I got
We
you.
had them.
okay,
So you can do all that from there.
Yes.
see, one of the things,
Just like we activate a cell phone for them or a gas card for a new hire and take another card out of service that had been used previously.
So you can award them all the accesses or deactivate their access.
Yes.
well,
Just
see,
under notification.
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
The other thing is to consider is, we have meetings over here at night, sometimes by an organization. Republican Club met over here, they had to get it, we have a guest key that they sign it out and they bring it back.
Yes.
Same thing, Democratic Party had a meeting over here. We have training facility, training that goes on for the county auditor's office, the tax office, they just had one over here. sometimes those are after hours. There's other classes that are taught over here that we have to give somebody a guest card, let them sign it out, so having it right here, that's gonna be an inconvenience.
Would you
Well,
have
couldn't he leave an extra key with you or your staff?
That's what I'm saying, we need to talk about.
Issued to the, judge
No, a guest key would, could be issued easily,
under his discretion?
so that it can hand it out to the people that they believe need to have it, and they can turn it back in. If it got lost, then we could deactivate it and issue another one. What we don't wanna have happen is a situation like the the gun range over there, is owned by the city. All of a sudden, there were duplicate keys floating around so bad, they just had to cut the locks off, buy a new chain and start from scratch, because they didn't have any control anymore. What we wanna have is control by groups and issue it out as appropriate, and the division heads or department heads over here that currently grant access, because they might need to meet with the election judges prior to holding an election. They're gonna have a guest key anyways.
But it will not disrupt anything that's going on now.
No, the people that have access now will have access.
So a new hire would have to come here and then go to the sheriff's office to get a key if they work here?
Not necessarily. You can keep, key blanks over here that were just unassigned.
And then just tell you,
And then
like,
just
this is
send
the
an
number
email
that,
that get assigned.
Okay, well, that's simple to me.
Each blank has a particular number to it.
right.
Yeah, that's simple.
I'd like to look at the system, at least to see how that's gonna work on the computer system.
I mean, what if there was only one
To see
license
how it has to
purchased?
be assigned and to make sure it's gonna work before. I mean, it's worked for, 18, 20 years in this facility where it's at right now. I'd like to just, let's see how the computer works, how it's assigned, and it's gonna be an inconvenience for trying to get, if Margie hires somebody tomorrow, she's gonna have somebody that is over here that just has access to that front door. That's it, right? They don't have access to the other entrances to the secured areas. So it's gonna have to be an assignment that she does for us to assign the card, the keyless entry. And they don't get a key. They get a keyless entry. That way it can be killed if they leave. If they leave tomorrow, then we can go in and kill it. Okay? So there's different levels of access.
Judge Wesley had a comment to make.
Judge Wesley?
Yes, typically what happens is if I have workers in place is whenever they leave, that's one of the things, I get the keys, I get the key card. And then I just contact the person that's been issuing and you change over. And one of the reasons is that because my clerk's key pass only allows her in during certain hours. She can't come in over the weekend, she can't come in during the night. Mine allows me to come in any hour of the day because I never know when I'm gonna be here. So rather than having to go through and re-key every time I hired a clerk, I just transfer that one key card over, so you just change the name, have her sign for it, and we're good to go that way. And I understand about the security for the courthouse and the annex and stuff. But I've been around here for a little while too, and I remember when our security was taken away from us over here, and, we basically would come in. We're responsible pretty much for our own security over here anymore, it seems.
You talking about deputies at the doors?
Correct. Because apparently we didn't have real court over here anymore, so we didn't need a real deputy over here. But the thing is also kind of question as to if we have another department determining or issuing out the key cards and stuff, is that taken away from the elected officials, whoever they appoint as coming in and out? Because we're the one that bears all that responsibility. If they misuse items, it's our responsibility. And we get to determine what hours they come in and go out. However y'all decide, it's great with me. I don't care.
I just want y'all to be aware of the way I've been operating it. And it has worked. When I moved over here in May of 2005, whenever the building opened up. I think I was the first office to actually get in here. But, so I've seen all the changes that's been made and stuff. It's been relatively easy for me to maintain whoever has access to my office. But, just consider what you might want to get some input from other elected officials and get their ideas about if they have any issues with it or whatever. I'm good with whatever y'all come up with.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
I think that.
I guess what I'm hearing is the duty of the security falls under the sheriff. And what Judge brought up a while ago was something happened with a previous elected official, not our current sheriff. And what I've seen today, a lot of stuff has been said about these key cards that I don't think the sheriff has a clue that's going on. And if he's over the security of this building, I think he needs to be aware of how all this is happening, how all this is taking place, and who's assigned these keys and all of this, because when it comes down to it, it's his responsibility to be over this building. So I see where his dilemma is, that things are going on that he knows nothing about. So I don't know what the answer is, but I think you need to be a little more in the know as to what's going on around here, and I appreciate you wanting to know that.
Yeah, I mean, if he's responsible for the security of it, I mean, it's his responsibility. It's in his, and nobody else here is elected into that position, so that's all I see.
I echo those comments also.
I understand, but can we look and see what the system requires and making those changes could disrupt something? I don't know.
I think it's something we can pass on today and let you have time to look at that and then come back at a later date and put it on the agenda.
That's all I'm asking. Everybody okay with that? I mean, if you're gonna change systems, I'd like to know what's gonna take place or what's gonna have to happen to change that system.
Do you have to
Right now,
actually
we're
change
not
this
just-
system? You don't have to change it, just
They have to
software
change
issues,
nothing,
correct?
just the location.
See, you're asking me, correct, but that's what I'm saying, I need to sit down and see how everything's working.
Okay, well, let's just put it on the next commissioner's court. We'll put that one on the next commissioner's court.
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna just transfer the placement of it, that's all it is. I wouldn't think the system would change, would it?
What if it's just one
We'll
license?
pass that one till next time.
Yes, sir, to the next commissioner's court.
All right, I'll entertain a motion
You know
to
what I mean?
adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a
One
second?
license.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.